Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen out in YouTube land. Welcome in. I am Skap, your host tonight in Skap Live After Dark. We're going to be unpacking finally what is one good game that we've got in the West in this Western Conference Finals matchup between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Three basic blowouts until this fourth game. The Thunder cruising to that 24-point victory in game one. Another cruising 16-point win, 15-point win rather in game two. Then the 42-point beatdown by Minnesota in game three, giving way to tonight a little bit of a thriller, 128-126. Both teams engaged in a little free throw gamesmanship down the stretch before ultimately Minnesota, with one last gasp, desperation, missed free throw, trying to pull off a miracle. Shea gathers, throws it out of bounds, and Minnesota got one last kind of lob heave, which they did not connect on. And the Thunder hold on to win this one 128-126. And in so doing, I don't want to come on here and say I told you so, but coincidentally, I told you so. Everybody getting up in here on me in the aftermath of the last game. Oh, Skap, you're wrong about the Thunder, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the Thunder aren't unbeatable. The Thunder I called to win this series in 5 before the series began. I had them losing last game, albeit admittedly not by 42 points. That was more so about the Thunder and their pathetic effort from top to bottom in that last game. They showed up from the tip tonight with a complete different level of energy. And kudos to Minnesota. By the way, this is exactly what I'm talking about with how stacked Minnesota was. I bemoaned that last season as well when the Denver Nuggets beat them when the Denver Nuggets fell to them in 7 and Minnesota went on to the Western Conference Finals. We'll get into that because, look, Minnesota is by far and away. This game is just a microcosm of how far away the Denver Nuggets are. We don't have to talk about them at the top here because this is a show that I want to really just discuss these two teams. Obviously, credit to both of them for getting here in this moment. And the reason they're here is because their teams are absolutely, undeniably loaded. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony Edwards have exponentially more help than Nikola Jokic could ever dream of having. And that's why they're in this moment, both of these teams. And this is just indicative, this game, of how loaded the Minnesota Timberwolves truly are, but how much more loaded the Oklahoma City Thunder are, because they were able to stave this off, to still manage to get this over the finish line. And they're still going to win this series in 5, even despite everything the Minnesota Timberwolves have. Anthony Edwards was taken out of this game. Again, I don't want to make any, grand declarations about Anthony Edwards, the fact that he choked or the fact that he didn't do enough. This is what the Thunder do. They're this good. They can remove any one player out that they want, i.e. Nikola Jokic last series, even though removing him 28, 15, and 6 on 48%. Tonight, they just said Anthony Edwards, quite frankly, is not going to beat us. Anthony Edwards was the linchpin last game. He keyed them in that first quarter, really set the tide, I should say, and the momentum, which of course, matriculated towards that 42-point curb stomping by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tonight, they just said, ain't going to happen tonight. Go ahead, let everybody else beat us. And look at the Minnesota Timberwolves supporting cast tonight. Jaden McDaniels, 22 points on 9 of 15. And again, Julius Randle with 5 points on 1 of 7 tonight. Another vanishing act from him. And that happened. Julius Randle, their other all-star player, vanished tonight. 1 of 7 on 5 points in a game where Anthony Edwards was only 5 of 13 for 16 points, 1 of 7 from the 3-point line. And yet they still hang a $126 on this defense. And we're right there down the stretch with an opportunity to win it because they are absolutely stupidly loaded. Jaden McDaniels, 22 points on 9 of 15. Look at the freaking bench performance tonight by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Naz Reid, last year's sixth man of the year, to me, still the best sixth man in all of basketball. I don't care that he didn't win it this year. He had 11 points on a relatively quiet night on 3 of 4. Dante DiVincenzo, 21 points. 5 of 8 from the three-point line, and that ain't it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 23 points on also 5 of 8 from the three-point line. 9 more points from Terrence Shannon. Moderator Gary Welkman, my simple mathematics are, I continue to declare, is lousy. This looks like, help me with this, Gary. What is this? 55, 60 bench points from the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. Ridiculously loaded Minnesota Timberwolves unit here, which extends 8 or 9 deep. But speaking of loaded, the Oklahoma City Thunder go on the road. They stave off that bench performance, and still, the game. Look, it ended up being kind of a hard stopper at the end. It was a 2-point game there. But the Thunder essentially were up at every stage, not by much, but they were up, I think, 7 at the end of the first half. They were up 5 at the end of the third quarter. They were up 7 with 2.5 minutes left in this game. They got a little careless with the ball. Shai actually missed a free throw late. He had, he was like 9 of 10 going into that, but he had missed a free throw. Kind of made it look a little closer down in the last 2.5 minutes than it really had to be. For them, they basically controlled it, I think, and they showed, look, their defense is magnificent, but against the team in Minnesota, which are no slouches defensively, they were the number 1 defensive unit in the NBA a year ago. They still are rated top 5 this season. And even, with the fact that the Thunder shut down Anthony Edwards, shut down Julius Randle, still give up a buck 26, but they score 128 themselves. Obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, look, he was very good in this game. He was great. You know what? He was great in this game. 40 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds. Look, he shot 30 times. 13 of 30 from the field. 12 of 14 from the free throw line. You add up the free throw attempts. You add up the field goal attempts. That's 44 shots to score 40 points still, though. 40, 10, and 9. Fantastic. I'm not going to say anything negative about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on a night where he goes 40, 10, and 9. And I really haven't said much negative about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander all year long. It's just that this is routine. Like there is no shock or awe or celebration of Shai Gilgeous's excellence, in my opinion, because the margin is so high. It's so lofty. Like, they should, of course, win the NBA championship easily. And I said that from September on. I said that they should have swept the Nuggets or beat them in 5. Somehow, some way, they choke away 3 games in that one. Then I say 5. Book it in 5 this series. It's looking like it's going to be just that now, as it is a 3-1 margin here in the series standing for the Oklahoma City Thunder, as this gets set to shift back now for Game 5 to Oklahoma City. I absolutely expect them to close this thing out. And just speaking to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's supporting cast in this one, Jalen Williams, who everyone was burying and denigrating in that last Nugget series, because look, he had some stinkers in that series, no doubt about it. He also had some fantastic games in that last series, like 2 or 3 extraordinary games against the Nuggets. And look, he had some things to atone for from last year's postseason. He was pathetic in the semifinal loss last year, a 6-game loss, 4-2 at the hands of the Dallas Mavericks. And it was pretty much solely on him last year. He comes off of that, though, this season, and he goes all-NBA defense second team, all-NBA third team, and an all-star. And he's just, look at tonight's game. 34 points, 13 of 24, 6 of 9 from 3. And then, of course, Chet Holmgren, who is also a perennial budding superstar, in my opinion, perennial All-NBA or All-NBA defensive caliber guy. He had 21 big points tonight as well on 9 of 14. And 2 of 4. He had 2 big 3-pointers in the process of this game. So, look, their bench actually, which is a strength for sure and magnificent. Alex Caruso was very good off the bench as he generally is. 10 points. He was a +8 on the plus minus tonight, provided his typical level of excellent defense. And, as good as the bench was and is, for the Thunder, their bench obviously outdone by Minnesota's bench tonight and last game, actually, too. Minnesota's bench was quite good in the last game as well. So these are back-to-back games where their bench is just Minnesota's bench has done work. But the 3 big stars, see, the Thunder can crush you with their bench, or they can crush you with their big 3 because their big 3 likely is better than your big 3. Their depth is typically better than your depth. Minnesota's depth has been better, but tonight this was about the top-level star power of Oklahoma City, of course, led by the league MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he is an excellent player. But again, this is not a crazy ask for him at all. This is routine. This is just business. They're just punching the clock, and this is what it should look like. When we look back, in 5-6 years, and the Thunder have 3-4 championships, and people are slobbering over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, well, I'm just going to reject and deny that full-heartedly because this is what they should be doing. And it's only going to get more pronounced as they get, this is still a very, very, very young core. And when I say core, I mean their whole damn team of 10 players. Everybody's still 26 or less, other than Alex Caruso. So really, they're still kind of learning their way through this playoff thing. And they're only going to get better now. Moving forward, last year and this year were the years to get them to sneak up and not let them win. They got last year. The Nuggets got them to a game 7, but that was as close as any team's going to get to sniffing, stopping this coronation, which is going to be the beginning of a dynastic run, which, again, not to sound like a broken record, but I've been telling you so since September. And that is why I'm not talking crap on SGA when I say that Jokic is the rightful MVP. That the ask is it's bigger. And if you are new to the lounge, by the way, if you are, welcome in to Skap After Dark, the lounge area. I'm very thankful and grateful to have you guys here. Many of you, I'm sure, are returning members to the lounge. But if you are not, I liken everything to movies in some way, shape, or form. And because I am a big movie buff, in addition to loving my sports. And, I look at I love the Oscars, the Academy Awards. I watch it. I hang on it. It's like one of my biggest days of the year. I watch typically the red carpet coverage. I then watch, the whole awards, and I watch the post-show recap, all the little press conferences with people talking about their wins and everything like that. I liken Shai is a magnificent player, but I liken it to a great actor who might lose the Academy Award to potentially a lesser actor. Not saying Nikola Jokic is lesser, because I actually think Nikola Jokic is the greatest player the earth has to offer right now. However, because the role provided is more difficult for one person than the other. It gives the role that one person has might allow them to do more, show more, deliver a better performance, because it requires more range, more depth. And the ask of Nikola Jokic is so much greater. Shai should win. They should win 70 every year. They should win the championship every year. It's not a big ask at all. But kudos to him for him not choking. That in and of itself is something that should be celebrated, because in this era, basically post 2010 to now, the era of super teams and choke artists, led by LeBron James, we've seen a lot of guys snatch loss out of the jaws of victory. So just SGA at merely the age of 20, he might be 27 now, but this is his age 26 season. At just the age of 26, to not just falter and choke and gag. And there were moments in this game where I thought, that, throughout the course of the fourth quarter, like Minnesota was mounting a run. Minnesota looked like they might potentially get over the hump, and like Shea would just make a play. Either it would be like a big jump shot, a big contested jump shot, or, he would make the right read. And he had one of his players where Jalen Williams hit big shots off of Shea assists tonight down the stretch, as did Chet Holmgren. So just to get the ship down, or to get the plane down with no turbulence, no midair issues for Shea is in and of itself should be celebrated. And here we are. I guess we can't really start celebrating it yet, but it is all but over. The Oklahoma City Thunder with a convincing 3-1 series advantage now, a decisive 3-1 series advantage. It is very rare when I believe it's happened. Moderator Gary, I don't have it off the top of my head as I typically do. I should have refreshed my memory on this stat coming on, but all time in NBA history, I think it's still just around 10 times in league history out of like hundreds of times that a team has come. Maybe it's 12. It's something right around 10 to 12 that a team has come back from a 3-1 series deficit to win a series. It's very rare that happens. And the Oklahoma,
it says 13 teams have overcome a 3-1 series deficit to win the series.
Okay, so thank you.
History. Yep.
Thank you, moderator Gary. I was, I said maybe 10, 12. It's 13 is the official number from moderator Gary. Thank you for the quick fact check there. 13 times out of whatever number, hundreds of times that a team has been down 3-1 have they come back to win it. And I'm going to guess again that like a lot of those times might've been like the home team had the 3-1. So like the higher seed was the team that was down 3-1, and they had 2 of the 3 remaining games at home. So really they just had to win a middle game on the road, and that was it. The Oklahoma City Thunder have games 5 and 7 at home. The Oklahoma City Thunder now, who have played 82 regular season games, and this was like they played 4 games in the first round, 7 in the second. So that's 11. And then this is their 4th, 15. So 15 and 82, 97. How's that for quick math? They've played 97 games this year, and they have never lost more than 2 straight. Good luck, Minnesota. Welcome to the NBA Finals. Welcome to the party, pal, to the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City Thunder. It's just a matter of time, and I don't think we're going to wait very long. I think it's next game that this series comes to an end. But guys, welcome in yet again. I just have to give you another welcome. Welcome and shout out. You heard moderator Gary with the fact check there. We're, about 20 minutes into the lounge tonight, as we are about 15 minutes outside of the midnight hour on the good old East Coast of the US of A, which is where I am at. We've got about 360 in the lounge right now. We have a plethora of super chats already in the chamber that I should probably start addressing. But Gary first, partner, welcome in. How's it going?
Yes, sir. Pretty good. Little underwhelmed by Anthony Edwards. I got to be honest. I think they need to stop bringing him up definitely in the same breath as Jordan or Kobe. I think his comp is Dwayne Wade, and I got to say I don't even think should be mentioned in the same breath as Dwayne Wade right now. I think Dwayne Wade would have done more tonight. But I think that's a more fair comp is Dwayne Wade. I
will say this in Ant-Man's defense. Like in Game 7, I didn't come in here and slander and destroy Nikola Jokic for whatever it was. I think he took 11 shots for the game.
But this is a trend with him. I'm not just talking about tonight. This is like the final game. I'm tired of seeing underwhelming performances. Remember last year when Minnesota beat Denver and Anthony Edwards was celebrating, but he didn't do much. He had a pretty mediocre game. That's what I'm getting at. That's when it started. I loved what he did against Kevin Durant and the Suns in the first round last year. That's when I was like, okay, this guy is venturing upon Kobe Bryant territory. Then he had that underwhelming finale, even though the Wolves won, and now sprinkled throughout the playoffs. Last year against the Mavericks, and now this year throughout the playoffs, he just has too many underwhelming games. I'm not just talking about a one and done game. Everybody has a one and done off game. I'm talking about every other game is underwhelming for him.
That's fair, but I'm just saying, and I have criticized Anthony Edwards in the past, and I will continue to do so in the context of other series. Specifically, yes, he was very bad in games 4, 5, and 7 last year against the Denver Nuggets. He was straight. He was terrible, especially in game 7. He got unequivocally bailed out. He was like 6 of 24 for 17 points in that game 7 and like 1 of 8 in the fourth quarter. Jaden McDaniels led the team in scoring in that game. And the Nuggets just completely no-showed. So other than Nikola Jokic, who was there the whole game. But it was a complete bailout for him in that. Then he totally vanished in the following series, like you mentioned, against the Mavericks. He had bad games offensively and defensively. And then he just kind of left the court early without shaking hands. It was pretty classless. So I will no doubt get on here and go at Anthony Edwards, but it ain't going to be in this series because look, the Thunder have, again, Lou Dort's first team All-NBA defense. Jalen Williams is
Do you think they would have stopped Kobe like this? Come on. This is what I'm saying. I'm talking about it.
No, it's happened, Gary. It has happened. Gary,
look, Kobe wouldn't have got stopped for a whole series like this, that's what I'm saying. And I like Anthony Edwards.
I mean, he did have a great game, though, last game. Underwhelming in games 1 and 2. But look, again, this team, yes, maybe Kobe forces more shots through or whatever, but they were making, the team is so good around Edwards. And this is my point, with why I brought up Jokic early on, because Jokic was making the same pass. The Thunder were committing the same level, more attention. The Thunder were throwing more at Nikola Jokic than they have been at Anthony Edwards. And Jokic was just passing it to wide open dudes, and they weren't doing anything with it. They stink. His team sucks. Anthony Edwards did that tonight because they're like, no, you're not going to score tonight. We're not going to let you beat us. And they score 126 points with an Anthony Edwards. It's not like he had 20 assists. He had 6 assists tonight. He made the right play, made good passes, but they were more so. This was just, look, they committed a lot of guys to Edwards. He was passing out of it, and the team was just hitting. They were making shots around him. The team is great around him in their own right, in Minnesota's own right. I'm not disagreeing with Gary. Gary, look, the Thunder, they don't have 4 All-NBA first team defensive guards or second team defense, but they do have 4 All-NBA defensive caliber guards, period. They didn't all make it, but Lou Dort, Jalen Williams made it. Alex Caruso is probably a better defender than either. Maybe Lou Dort's better than Caruso, but that's three solid All-NBA defensive first or second team caliber perimeter players. Then Shea is the worst perimeter defender they have, essentially. You might even be able to find a guy off the bench that might, Caruso is off the bench. So they're throwing a lot at Ant-Man, and then they have good guys underneath when Ant-Man beats it. So it's I get him being taken out. I'm not going to make. What you're saying about Anthony Edwards is not unfair in the context of his entire career, but I'm not going to criticize him in this series.
Okay, I'm trying to clarify. I still like Anthony Edwards, regardless if they go out soon like they're about to. I like Anthony Edwards, but what I'm getting at, I'm tired of hearing him being mentioned as Jordan's son. I'm tired of hearing him mentioned in the same breath as Kobe Bryant. Because I don't care who Jordan or Kobe are playing. They find a way. Look at what Kobe had to do to the Celtics. He didn't have a great game 7 in the 2010 finals, but he found a way. And that was a great defense he was playing against in Boston. What I'm saying is, if you're going to be mentioned in the same breath as Jordan or Kobe, you need to put up better performances. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying I'm underwhelmed because the standard has been raised in the same breath as the 2 greatest guards of all time. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair, Gary, but I don't do that. I'm not out here comparing him to Jordan or Kobe.
A lot of people do. That's a narrative.
I don't think he's not going to make it, quite frankly. He ain't going to make it because the Thunder exist. And he's just not going to get, Shea is the one that's going to be ultimately compared to Jordan and Kobe, because his team is as good as the Thunder are. They are the second best team in the Western Conference. Right now, because of what's going on with Boston, Tatum is out next year. And then when he comes back the following year, Boston is all up against the apron. So like they're going to have to shed some of these players. So quite frankly, Minnesota with Tim Connolly at the helm, the guy that was with the Denver Nuggets before their moron owner, Josh Kroenke, let him go to Minnesota. Now Tim Connolly built Minnesota into, I think they're the second best team in the NBA moving forward now into next year. But unfortunately, they're second best to the Thunder, who are much better than them, in my opinion.
Right. And I'm in agreement with you. I'm not saying that you're comparing him to Jordan and Kobe, but what I'm saying is the media for the last 2 years has been. That's why I'm comparing them, because the media has been. That's what I'm getting at.
And again, that's fair, but it's going to end because Shea is the MVP.
I don't doubt it.
Shea is going to win the title. And then Shea plays the same position as Ant-Man and Jordan and Kobe. So like it's going to be Shea taking over because Shea's team is so much better. They're going to win 70 games or around it next year. They're going to win the title again next year. And then Ant-Man's going to be the forgotten person. So, you know, look, Ant-Man's got a great team. And like, maybe you say like, okay, he doesn't have the best team, but if he's going to be Kobe or Jordan-esque, he's still with that good of a team. Okay, they're not better than the Thunder, but he's got enough that he needs to find a way to get over the hump, to beat them.
Right.
So like, that's a fair point too. Like, it's not like Anthony Edwards has Denver Nuggets supporting cast where it's like literally impossible for them to compete with the Thunder. Like we see now in 2 consecutive games that the Minnesota Timberwolves absolutely do have enough talent to compete. They blow them to pieces last game, and they play them to a 2-point game rather tonight. And Edwards didn't have a good game. He shot 13 times for 16 points. And again, it's not like he had 20 assists. He had 16 points, 6 assists, and 5 turnovers. So like these were the games that people were, you know, that actually, I don't even think Jokic had a game that was that. Maybe the game 2 that they got blown out, that Jokic fouled out with like 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, I guess might have been that bad. But like the game 7 Jokic had 29 and 8 or something like that in that game on over 50% shooting. And yet his team put up, I don't know, Gary, I can't even remember. I've tried to watch that game from my memory, but like 80 points. When they pulled the starters, they had like 77 points on the board, with Jokic having 29 and 8 on 55% shooting. Ant Edwards tonight plays 41 minutes, shoots 13 times for 16 points, and his team puts up 126. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference, people out there who are delusionally criticizing Nikola Jokic? Like, call me when Nikola Jokic in a playoff game against the Timberwolves or the Thunder puts up 16 points on 13 shots and his team scores $126. It ain't happening. So this is the difference that we're talking about. So maybe, Gary, the criticism is fair of Anthony Edwards. Like, your team is good enough. Like, they're close enough for you to be great enough to figure out a way, or maybe you just aren't great enough. Maybe
to at least be closer. Even if you lose the series, you don't have to necessarily win the series, but you need to be right there. Like tonight was a nail biter, but those first 2 games were not even close. And I suspect game 5 will also be a blowout.
Right, Gary. And just win it, make it close. Like Nikola Jokic with way worse supporting talent around him than Anthony Edwards got it to 7. Like now Anthony Edwards is going to get it to 5.
That's what I'm getting at. That's my whole point of why he's underwhelming compared to Kobe and Jordan. That's my whole premise of why I brought that up.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fair. And look, he is still young. He's only like 23 or 24.
Right.
But he has been in the league for 5 years.
But remember Kobe at 21. Remember when Shaq fouled out game 4? I was vehemently going for the Pacers. I was so excited. And then Kobe Bryant just rained on all the Pacers fans' parade with the whole like pump the brakes type thing when he swishes that shot in Reggie Miller's face and just took over in overtime. Because I thought, great, series is tied 2-2. Pacers making a comeback. That was Kobe. How old was he? Wasn't he 21 at that point?
21. Yep, 21.
Exactly. So the 23 is not an excuse either if you want to compare yourself to Kobe. Because Kobe did have Shaq. But other than that, Kobe and Shaq, the Lakers really didn't have anybody else. It was Kobe and Shaq alone. I mean, they didn't need a lot of
sure.
great. Rick Fox.
And on that first one, they had Glenn Rice, but after after Glenn Rice on that first one, so Kobe 22, 23 years old, and the 22 and 23, the next two, their leading scorer other than Kobe and Shaq was Derek Fisher, who is like a career 8-point per game scorer who in 20 years never made one single All-Star team ever. Like Derek Fisher's biggest accolade in 20 years was he finished 8th, I think, 1 year in 6th Man of the Year voting when he wasn't with when he didn't play with Kobe. Remember, he left for a few years in the middle of there, and then he came back. But so Derek Fisher wasn't even really a starting NBA player. When he went, I think he played for Utah or Golden State or Golden State for like 2 or 3 years, and then he came back to LA.
His daughter was sick or something, and he went to another team to be close to the hospital she was at.
Right.
Yeah.
So in those years, Fisher wasn't even good enough to be a starter on a team that wasn't even that good, and he was still not even. He was like 8th or 9th in 6th Man of the Year voting. That guy was the 3rd leading scorer on the back end of the 2 3-peat championships between Shaq and Kobe. And people actually try to say Kobe got carried or Kobe wasn't a valid part of those runs. When you have Derek Fisher as your 3rd leading scorer, of course, Kobe and Shaq were the 2 best players in the NBA. I know we don't need to get in the Tim Duncan thing. I'll say between Shaq, Kobe, and Duncan, those 3 players were the 3 best players in the NBA at that time. 2 of them were on LA. That's why they were so damn great at that point.
But just a shout out to Derek Fisher, though. He's so clutch, though. He doesn't have a great career overall, but that guy playing with Kobe was clutch. Never been a more clutch shot in the history of the league than in 2004. What he did after Tim Duncan hit that shot, what was it, 1/8 of a tenth? 4/10. I thought it was impossible. And when he made the shot, I said, hey, that can't count. He didn't get off in time. And then I saw the replay, and my head sunk. I was like,
Gary, if you remember, they were inbounding on like the left side of the floor, and Fisher was a southpaw. So he was able to catch it and like in one motion, catching it, throw it up. And like that game, ultimately, like that game will always resonate. Like one of the best games I've ever seen. Kobe, I thought, won the game with like 12 seconds left. Kobe hit the go-ahead basket to put the Lakers up 1 with like 12 seconds remaining. Then Duncan came down, had Shaq hanging all over him. Shaq's big-ass meaty arm was like literally implanted
and knocked him down
in Duncan's face, and Duncan was falling away from like 16, 17 feet out in the center of the floor. He hits it with 4/10. So then all of a sudden I go like, Kobe wanted to, oh my God, the Lakers lost it. Then Derek Fisher with the 4/10 miracle heave, one of the best games. And ultimately, Gary, it was all for naught because that was the year that the Lakers would go on then and lose to the Pistons, and the dynasty would break apart. But listen, I do want to get into the super chats. We're now, as is typical of my live streams, I have fallen drastically behind on talking about these. We're over a half an hour into the lounge, so welcome to all of you. We're near 400 people in here, so thank you guys for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. We're going to get to these supers. I do, though, want to jump a little bit down to the more recent ones from one that I just saw pop in. Shout out to Johnny Arnett, friend of the show, friend of the lounge, friend of Skap Attack. Johnny and I are friendly. I actually went on a podcast with him kind of recently, a few weeks ago. He started another. So everyone that doesn't know Johnny Arnett, very pretty famous, well-known YouTuber out there. He's got about 200,000 subscribers, basketball YouTuber. But he has just started a new channel, which I believe is called Johnny Talks. So Johnny, if I got that wrong, I'm sorry, but you guys should go check it out. I think it's Johnny Talks is the channel where it's going to be more like panel work, more long form discussion, and it's a podcast as well. So I was on that with Johnny and his panel recently. So you should go check that out and just throw him a subscribe and check all of those out. But Johnny is in with the super chat. So thank you, Johnny, very much for supporting me in the lounge here. And Gary, what does Johnny have? What's his question or comment here?
Minnesota won the boards, assists. They shot a better field goal, 3-point, and free throw percentage. They won points in the paint, and they committed less fouls, but they had 21 turnovers. Minnesota simply choked this away. And that's the premise on them, is that they're just wildly inconsistent.
Again, though, I want to take this in another direction, though, Johnny. And again, thank you. Like, with all of that, which is all true, Randle, Julius Randle, again, 5 points on 1 of 7 shooting. Anthony Edwards neutralized totally. 16 points on 5 of 13 shooting, 6 assists, 5 turnovers, like a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So with everything that was going on in that, and they turned the ball over 21 times. They gave up a ludicrous amount of offensive rebounds. I'm not sure exactly. I want to say it was near like 18 or 19 offensive rebounds. So they turn it over 21 times. Does Minnesota. And just to give you some context on that, it was 21-14 did the Oklahoma City Thunder win the turnover battle there. So Minnesota gives up like 18 or 19 offensive rebounds. They turn it 21 times. They turn it over 21 times. Julius Randle scores 5 points. So collectively, Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards scored 21 total points on dreadful shooting from outside. It was all told. Let me just get this right here. It was 6 of 20. So 21 points for Randle and Edwards on 6 of 20 shooting. The aforementioned 21 turnovers and giving up 18, 19 offensive rebounds, and they're still right there. Like, so that is just a stone cold indication of how absolutely loaded the supporting cast is, and just how loaded the team is of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Absolutely stacked. They are totally loaded. But again, like the Thunder, like they still fought through all of the bench brigade there, which again, I'm trying to do the quick math. 44, 54, 55. It was 64 points from the bench for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I believe they had 60 last game as well. And that wasn't a lot of garbage time, but 30 of those came in the first half. So back to back 60 pieces off of the bench from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Still not enough to overcome a 3-1 deficit. Now the Oklahoma City Thunder, again, as I said, in 97 games this year, they have never lost more than 2 games. That is the task facing the Minnesota Timberwolves now at this point, and 2 of the 3 are coming in Oklahoma City. So good luck. Best of wishes, Minnesota. But if I were you, I would start preparing my off-season plans. Maybe charter the plane to Cancun. Like, don't even work on your return flight to Minnesota after, I believe, the next game would be, it's Tuesday? No, I'm sorry, it's Monday. So the next game on Wednesday. So don't even charter the return flight to Minnesota. Just connect to some tropical island, or, if you want to just catch up with LeBron James in Cancun, maybe you could set up there. But again, Johnny, thank you for checking in. And Gary, I keep saying it. We are now 40 minutes in, and finally I'm going to start addressing some of these super chats.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Let's see what we've got a regular in the Enforcer, and actually the Enforcer dropped this super chat like almost 40 minutes ago, before we even got in, before the live even started. The Enforcer, and actually Skap's Extra Strong Cologne is in with a new avatar. I'm just going to tease that too. So we have that to look forward to on the next super chat. But first, Gary, what does the Enforcer have for us tonight?
It's frustrating watching Minnesota defend most, not all, of OKC, and only box out a few of the players. Minnesota is the most frustrating team to me in the NBA.
And I know the Enforcer's been talking about them, and Johnny just mentioned something about choking. Like, Minnesota, they are underwhelming. Like, first of all, they're typically not a good clutch team. They do not perform well in back-to-back years, last year and this year. They underwhelmed in the clutch. They lost games really that they should have won all regular season. They screw around throughout the regular season. I talked about it in previous iterations of the Lounge, where it's pathetic quite frankly, for Minnesota to be a 49-win team. That is absolutely disgusting to me. We looked at the games. Literally none of their players missed games. They had virtually no injury issues at all. Now, sure, Julius Randle, they needed to integrate him into the lineup, but still, the talent that this Minnesota Timberwolves team has, they should be a 60-win team. To me, they're the most talented team in the NBA this year, other than Boston and Oklahoma City. And moving forward, like I said, with Boston's Tatum injury and the upcoming looming apron issues that they have pending in the cap, like Minnesota now, from this point forth, to me, is the second most talented team in the NBA. They should have, and Boston 164, and Oklahoma City 168. And now I would think that Minnesota should be 60, 61, 62-win team. They didn't even win 50. 49 wins. Pathetic. And that it bleeds into what they do in the playoffs, obviously, because they just let these things get away from them, I guess. Like, there's no sense of urgency, it seems, with times from them. So, Enforcer, I agree with you full-heartedly. It is frustrating watching Minnesota play. And now, as I said, Skap's extra strong cologne is in. Oh boy,
that's Mike Tyson
with a new avatar. Last night, if you recall, it was me dressed as Uncle Sam / Apollo Creed in Rocky IV, holding my scent, the Skap scent or something. I don't know exactly what it was last night, but it was good. But he has changed the avatar again. Is that, I'm confused? That is Mike. That is Iron Mike. That is and what's it say?
Tap attack.
Okay, I see what we're doing here. Okay, so a shout out to Iron Mike and Skap's Extra Strong Cologne. Welcome into you. What is the question or comment here, Gary?
What a game. Holmgren in particular made a bunch of critical plays on both ends of court. Dude is going to be a problem for years to come. I agree.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, I'd speculated, like I made, again, not to toot my own horn, but guys, I'm going to just toot here, because in September, I said, like a month before the season began, I said the Thunder were going to win the championship this year easily. It was going to be the beginning of kind of like a mini dynasty. And then like 2 weeks into the season, like 4 games in, after watching the Thunder for 4 games, I made another video and I was like, look, we slept on the Thunder. And even though I said Shea would win the MVP, the Thunder would win the title, and they'd win multiple, I still thought I under-evaluated how good they were going to be, because I saw the jump in Chet Holmgren. Then, of course, he broke his hip. But the team is so loaded and so good that Jalen Williams was just like, oh, okay, Chet Holmgren, the second best player on the team, in my estimation, the guy that's going to be perennial all-NBA caliber, all-NBA defensive caliber, like he breaks his hip, misses 50 games, and Jalen Williams is like, no sweat. I'll be all-NBA defense. I'll be all-NBA. I'll be an all-star. Like, we'll have the best bench in 25 years. Like, no biggie. So that's just how good the Thunder are. But yes, now Chet is back. He's fully engaged. He's fully healthy. He has been for weeks and weeks and weeks. He has been for the entire playoffs. And like, that just adds a dynamic. I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein was such an amazing sign for them in the offseason. He's just an absolute luxury. Like, there's games throughout these playoffs that either one of them, like, necessarily like they're just kind of quiet. Isaiah Hartenstein tonight, to my point, 16 minutes and 2 points. Like they just didn't even use him. So, and that will be indicated like by matchup specific. It will be matchup specific positional indications. Obviously they're going to go small in this. They went big basically since game 1 against the Nuggets last round, because Nikola Jokic forced that kind of an adjustment for them. So Hartenstein and Chet played massive stretches together in last round. They're going smaller in this one, in this series now. So, Hartenstein barely even used. Chet was massive. There were moments in this game that neither were on the floor. So the Thunder are going very small tonight. But it's just the benefit that the Thunder have with such a loaded and stacked roster that they have. It's just unfair. And it's not unfair in the sense that LeBron joined the Miami Heat. It's not unfair that LeBron, the second best player in the NBA in 2010, joined the third best player in the NBA in 2010 and Dwayne Wade, and recruited like the 14th best player in Chris Bosh. It's not unfair in the sense that Kevin Durant, who was like the second best player in the NBA, joined a team that went 73-9 with the Golden State Warriors in 2017. It's not unfair in that sense. It's unfair in the sense that Sam Presti is 10 times better than anybody else that's building teams in the NBA today. He was literally playing like 3D chess to everybody else's checkers, and he just amassed this stacked ass dynasty right under everybody's noses. So it's unfair. It's desperate. I think a desperate feeling for the rest of the league to see what's brewing here, especially when you factor in like the fact that they have control of as many as I think 17 first-round picks in the next 6 seasons. It's stupid. It's just stupid. But that's what they'll do to you. Tonight is they'll just throw a lot of things at you when the bench is faltering or not playing as big. Then their top line stars will come out to play. So great points, Skaps, Extra Strong Cologne. And again, welcome to you and many thanks for your continued support. You too, Enforcer. And now we have another regular. It's just all regulars here all the time in the Skap sponsorship lounge area. Giuseppe DeRosa is in. Giuseppe, what do you got?
Do you think the Celtics had the weakest run ever? He's referring to last year's championship.
It is not. I did a video on that, Giuseppe, in the aftermath of that run. And it isn't based on the win percentage of supporting or the win percentage of opponents. So if you take the collective win percentage of the 4 teams that they faced and beat to get to the championship, or if you take their collective SRS, which is simple ratings system, if you look at that, it's not really even in the mix for the weakest run. But when you really put it in context, that like, who were the best teams last year, or at least the best players last year in the Eastern Conference? Well, Giannis Antetokounmpo, okay. Well, he strained his calf or had like some kind of Achilles tendonitis in the last week or 2 of the regular season. He missed the entire first round of the playoffs, and his team they took the Pacers 6, I think, but ultimately did not beat the Pacers. So Giannis didn't even play in the playoffs. Joel Embiid came back, and he was, great before he got hurt last year. Then he came back. He was coming off the MVP season. He was even better in the first stanza of the regular season, but then just had to go out. He missed most of the season. I think he only played like 39 games, but came back for the playoffs, but then hurt his knee against the Knicks in the first round. So he limped around. He didn't miss that series, but he was clearly depreciated. So he was out in the first round. Then the Celtics were playing the Cavs last year, who weren't as good as the Cavs were this year, but they were decent. But Donovan Mitchell got hurt halfway through the series, the best player. So he missed half of that. Then the Pacers get all the way through because the Knicks were probably the best team left, but they lost all their players. Brunson hurt his hand. Randall hurt his shoulder. OG Anunoby hurt his hamstring. So the Pacers, like the 4th or 5th best team last year in the East, got all the way through to the East Finals to meet the Celtics. And then Tyrese Halliburton got hurt too. So they played literally like the B teams, the JV squad of the JV conference last year to get into the NBA championship. And then they played the 5 seed Dallas Mavericks, who just looked complacent to be there. They just kind of disappeared. So I think when you really add it, total it all up and look at the context of it, you can make a case that the Celtics had one of the worst runs in NBA history. I think absolutely, even though, again, by raw metric, that would not be bared out. Kayako is back in, another regular here. Kayako, welcome back in. Gary, what's the question or comment?
Complete choke job by Ant, shaking my head.
Again, look, I'm going to be consistent here. I'm not going to overly destroy Anthony Edwards because of the personnel of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they legitimately have 6 All-NBA caliber defensive players on the team. Now they only got 2 to an official team, but I think 6 guys are that level in terms of the 2 that made it. Then Caruso, I think you can throw Shea in the mix, and then Hartenstein and Chet. So like the fact that if they really want to just funnel 2 or 3 top 15 defensive players league-wide to you, like they're just going to be able to take you away. Like it's incumbent on your teammates to keep you in the game. And so his teammates did. But then down the stretch, it's got to be you that gets it over the hump. Like if your teammates keep you in it to this point, then you have to find a way to get it over the finish line. And he didn't do it. And that was after they got worked in games 1 and 2. So, you know what it is. It's a must win tonight, and they didn't win. So ultimately, the best player is always going to get the criticism. So, I don't mind necessarily that narrative. Next, we've got Dylan Davis, another irregular. Welcome in, Dylan. And thank you for your continued support of us here. Gary, what does Dylan have for us?
Gary, Skap, what's up? Ant is not that guy.
A lot of Ant-Man slander going on here, Gary. So I'm glad that you kind of opened the floodgates at the beginning, because that seems to be
this came in before.
I know that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm glad that you already brought it up and we discussed it already,
right?
Because that seems to be the takeaway mainly from this game. And look, the end result is not pretty. It's 16 points on 5 of 13, 1 of 7 from the 3-point line, 6 assists, 5 turnovers, and a net -3 on the night, which it's a must-win game. Like it's essentially, look, it's not an elimination game, but it's the closest thing that you're going to get to it, because as we went over, 13 teams all time in NBA history out of probably, I don't know, like 400 or so, have overcome the dreaded 3-1 hole. And it's rarer yet to do it when you have to play 2 of the remaining 3 on the road. So now you've got a 68-win team who is excellent at home, who has never, in 97 games played between the regular season and playoffs, never lost more than 2 games all year, and they only lost 2 games twice. Now you are pressed with the damning prospects of having to beat them 3 consecutive times. Ain't going to happen. So you knew tonight at home, this was the one that you had to go get if you wanted to turn this into like any semblance of an opportunity to win the series. They didn't do it. He didn't do it. And obviously he's going to get the criticism for it. And I guess I'm not going to give much of a pushback, even though it's crazy. Like, I'm the one typically that's turning out and criticizing Anthony Edwards. And I think I'm being more of a defender of him tonight than many, but it is what it is. I'm not even going to try this one actually. Avaway, I will try it. Avaway, Jexa. I'm obviously,
sounds good.
I'm probably slaughtering the pronunciation of that. So I apologize to you, Avaway, but many thanks to you for coming in. Gary, while you read this, I'm going to check and see. I like to see where these people are coming from. So go ahead and read what the actual comment is while I figure that out.
Good day, Skap. Keep up the good work, brother.
Okay, Avaway, thank you so much. It is, let me get this right. It is a South African rand is the name of this currency. So coming from South Africa, I'm just so fired up, so humbled and grateful to have the global audience that I have. We see it throughout. We've got another one actually coming up next. So actually the next couple are all, international currencies, people coming from all over the world to join us in the lounge, to support me. And I am just so utterly grateful and thankful to you guys. So, and Avaway really didn't have much of a question or anything. Just wanted to shout us out and be very generous and drop us a sponsorship here in the lounge. So many thanks to you, and shout out to you in South Africa. Thank you so much for coming out here and tuning in. And as I said, we do have yet another international. My boy Marco back again from last night. Marco from Serbia. What's up, brah? Welcome into you. And thank you yet again for turning out and supporting us here in the lounge. Gary, what does Marco have tonight for us?
Hi, Skap and Gary. 14 feet for the untouchable. It's ridiculous. Fake MVP. P.S. Gary, my last name is not spelled as D like dog, as DJ, as Jokovic. Okay,
so it's Jokic, is what he's saying, like the tennis player essentially, who is also Serbian, I believe. So Marco, thank you. First of all, thank you for getting. I wish more people would actually help with the pronunciations, because and so many are like regular occurring people that come in here, and I want to like thank them and shout them out, and I fear I'm like mispronouncing their names. So thank you, Marco, for correcting us on that. And Look, yes, we know where I stand. I've been here since while I picked Shea preseason to win the MVP because I thought the Thunder would get near 70 wins. They did. I thought the Nuggets would barely get to 50. They did. And I thought the media hates Nikola Jokic and just would refuse to give it to him no matter what. They did. So while I thought Shea would win it this year, based from essentially the first week on, I've been out on a mission to pump up Nikola Jokic and to explain why the fact he is should have been the runaway, almost damn near unanimous league MVP. I think it's just being shown out again right now in these playoffs, Marco. The fact that, again, the Grizzlies got swept and spanked all over the court by this Thunder team. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to lose in 5, more than likely. And then the Pacers are probably going to get swept. So that's literally all other teams in the playoffs are going to win 1 total game against this team. And Nikola Jokic, with the worst team that the Thunder are going to see in all 4 rounds, took them 7. Ridiculous. Like, just indicative of how valuable this guy is. I know it's a regular season award, but go and look. I've talked ad nauseum. I have made a plethora of videos. Go check it out. Like, all of the regular season metrics were screaming Nikola Jokic, and then it was just confirmed in my estimation in the postseason. Of course, I talk about the uneducated or / unintelligent people that are going to look at this Thunder run at the end when they win the championship and say, oh, see, look, Shea actually was the MVP. See, he did prove it. No. Shea is a great player, period. I've been saying it. I'm not going to take away from him, but Shea's bar is so low. His ask is so little and minuscule. This team is so amazing, so great, so stacked, so loaded that it's not a big, like, crazy surprise that they're going to win. Again, I've been saying it for 8 months. So, Marco, again, thank you for coming in yet again and for supporting us. And now we have Lester's Banana, who is obsessed with bananas, obviously. He's got not only the censored banana private part there as he's holding his peel. His handle is Lester's Banana, and he is now bringing in, he wants me to eat a banana. He's trying to think of any way to make me eat a banana on a live stream. So now he's in and he's making banana references in his actual comment. Gary, go ahead and read it.
Do you remember that cartoon Banana Man? I remember it on Nickelodeon when I was a kid. Did you watch that, Skap?
I have to admit, I have not. I have no idea what he's
Banana Man is an actual, like, superhero cartoon. Banana Man greater than Ant-Man. I got it. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, for tonight, Gary, we're gonna have to agree, I guess, because Ant-Man wasn't very great at all tonight. But maybe, Gary, since you remember Banana Man and I don't, shout out to you, Lester. Gary, what's your take on
I agree.
Banana Man? Okay.
I don't think Banana Man would have turned in an underwhelming performance like this tonight. I think Banana Man would have come through in the clutch, and he may even risen to the occasion and maybe even helped the Timberwolves win in 7.
So there you have it. Moderator Gary agrees 100% with you, Lester. And thank you, Lester, for your continued support here. And Steph, again, speaking of continued support, Steph, welcome in. And I appreciate the fact that Steph keeps coming in. I think Steph and I, again, like, typically disagree on the videos. He's typically in pushing back against me more times than not. But, you know, he's made hundreds of comments on the videos, despite the fact that we're probably only on about a 10% agreement ratio. And he's basically in every single night in the lounge. Whether he's dropping us sponsorships or not, he typically is doing that as well. So, Steph, many thanks to you. And Gary, go ahead and read the question or comment.
Is he a LeBron fan?
I think he does push back against my LeBron stuff most of the time. And I think obviously he's a Steph fan as well.
Okay. I started watching the league back in 2011, and this is the worst playoffs I have ever seen. Can't wait for LeBron to retire so I can stop watching. So is he a LeBron fan who's only watching for LeBron? Is this why you think the playoffs are terrible? Because your boy can't win more than one game and gets eliminated in the first round and turns the ball over on the inbounds pass with the game on the line and scores a total of 5 points in the fourth quarter in games 4 and 5? I think LeBron is the worst performer in the playoffs. It's not the quality of the NBA. It's your boy LeBron.
Yeah, I think this comment is indicative as to why we disagree most of the time. And Steph, unfortunately for you, I'm sorry, the fact that you are such a big LeBron fan and you barely ever get to watch him play. You started watching basketball in 2011, so you got a good 8-9 year run of seeing him go to the finals every year on too big to fail stacked super teams. And then after that, though, when he finally crawled his ass out of the JV weak Eastern Conference and went to the real conference in the West, all of a sudden it showed up that things were a little bit more difficult on that side of the coin for him, unfortunately. So he has been out of the first round only twice in like 7 years now with the Lakers. He either misses the playoffs or loses in the first round every year. So Steph, tough watching for you for the last like 7-8 years. Sorry that LeBron has just been failing you like he's been failing his teams for the last over half decade now.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, the Lakers should have cut bait with him, a couple of years back, if you ask me. Or LeBron should have taken his talents to whatever next team gave him, more of a supercharged chance to win. I'm actually working, Gary. I don't know if you or any of the people out there in the lounge have seen it, and I've been trying to fact check it and determine if the footage really did come from 2 nights ago or if it's like repurposed footage. But I saw this like LeBron at some event. It looked like a wedding or something from like 2 nights ago. And he was breaking it down. Like this guy was out cutting it loose on the dance floor, doing ridiculous dance moves, like 25 days after suffering an alleged grade 2 MCL sprain.
Right.
So I'm actually working. It's going to not be a very long video, but I just started working on it this evening while I was watching the game. It will come out tomorrow. Good. It's called The Dancing King. So keep your eyes open for that one. Steph, maybe keep your eyes open for that. You can see LeBron doing what he does best. I don't mean playing basketball. I mean dancing. Karthik Shankar, regular. Welcome back in to you, Karthik. Thank you for your continued support. Gary, what do we got from Karthik?
Gentlemen's Suite incoming on Wednesday.
Yep, 100%. I'm just going to go to the old interwebs here real quick and see what the line is. My guess would be around 5 or 6. Oh my God! It is like already open. 8.5 point preliminary line for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So nearly a double-digit lay for the Oklahoma City Thunder at home. So obviously, I've expected them to win in 5. I did not waver, if you recall, moderator Gary, and those of you that are watching in the lounge. I came on here with my head held high after proclaiming to start the series that the Thunder would win in 5. After saying the Thunder are unbeatable, I came in here after the 42-point shellacking in Game 3 with my head held high, and I said, okay, like I'm not blinking here. I still think the Thunder will win Game 4, and then I think they will win Game 5. Yeah,
you didn't say that the Timberwolves were going to win a close. You said they were going to win 1, and that's so far what's happened.
So, yes, I agree with you full-heartedly, Karthik. Warm up the brooms. Warm up the gentleman brooms on Wednesday, I think. It's all but over. Oklahoma City Thunder going back to the NBA Finals, their first Finals appearance for them since 2012. So it's been 13-ish years since they've been back. So kudos to you. Sully's Tech Hub, a regular as well into the lounge. Thank you, Sully, for your continued support of us. I appreciate that as always. What is Sully's comment here?
Euro teams with less talent will take wannabe dream teams to the brink and even win sometimes. Clearly, there's a formula for maximizing lesser talent. What is that formula, and why don't we see it in the NBA?
I don't know exactly. I guess Euro teams with less, like talking about maybe the Serbian matchup with the U.S. Dream Team, possibly in the Olympics, maybe during the summer. I'm not sure if that's the reference, or maybe he's just referencing like teams with European-centric stars like the Denver Nuggets and like last year the Dallas Mavericks. So I'm not sure which, but yes, like the U.S. Dream Team was losing like 38 of the 40 minutes against Nikola Jokic's Serbian team with, I think they had 3 NBA players total on the team. And Nikola Jokic was by far the only star. There were like 2 bench players in the NBA on the team otherwise. And the Serbians held the lead for the whole game until the very end. I think, though, that is more indicative of just the Nikola Jokic's excellence. And then, quite frankly, Luka Doncic, too. If you look at what, like, Nikola Jokic is a souped-up version of Luka Doncic, in my opinion, but both of them have similar qualities in that they are so skilled and they bring so much. They bring 2 to the ball, so to speak, or more. Like in Nikola Jokic's case, like 3 to the ball. Like he was commanding like 3 people's attention for large stretches of the Thunder series last series. So Luka Doncic does the same thing. He's like Luka is he's too big to put smaller guys, smaller, quicker guys on. He's too big. He'll muscle them, get underneath, or he'll shoot over them. And then he's too quick to put bigger guys on him. Like there's really just no good way to guard him with one guy, even if you have elite players. So he's going to draw extra attention. He's going to create, the mismatches and allow the other team or allow his teammates to operate against lesser number of defenders. And then he's just such a great playmaker like Nikola Jokic that he's just going to find the guy that needs to get the shot funneled to him to get the best look possible. So like those guys, look, I think Nikola Jokic has been overachieving, floor rising for years now, getting his team further than they should ever go. And last year, Luka Doncic did it. I really didn't think that the Mavericks would win any of those series. I thought they'd lose to the Clippers in the first round. I thought they'd lose to the Thunder in the second round. I thought they'd lose to, the Mavericks the Wolves rather in the third round of the Western Conference Finals. So, but Luka just, he can do that to you unless he's playing with LeBron James, the ultimate choke artist. So, Sully, I hope I answered your question in some capacity. And thank you very much again for your continued support. And now again, Marco is back in. Marco, what is up? Go ahead and read Marco's latest comment for us.
Forgot to say, Skap, your honorary Serb, Skapage. I probably said that wrong too. But come to Serbia to see and feel atmosphere on a Serbian basketball game. Brother, I played in Serbia.
I love it, Marco. I love. First of all, thank you so much for bestowing honorary Serbian citizenship upon me. I'll take it. I obviously am a huge mega supporter of Nikola Jokic. I will continue, as I say, on and on. I will continue to be until I'm given a reason to not be. People speculate all the time on my channel, on videos and stuff, why it is that I support Nikola Jokic, but I spell it, I map it out for you time and time again. Nikola Jokic has done way more with lesser than many, many players historically. Like he has done things that I struggle to think of any player that could do the things that he has done with the supporting cast that he has had. Once he legitimately fails in situations that he should be succeeding in, then I'll say it. But until I see that, then I'm just going to continue defending him. So I will take that honorary Serbian citizenship, Marco. I appreciate that. And, I think I am planning a little East Coast, a little Eastern, I should say, a European trip here sometime pretty shortly. I think like once the NBA playoffs end, I'm probably going to be mapping something out. So maybe I could stencil Serbia into my itinerary and swing by and see you guys in Serbia. So again, thank you. Many, many thanks to you and shout out to you coming in and joining us from Serbia. Next, we've got, again, Lester's Banana is in. What does Lester have for us this time, Gary?
Derek Fisher's biggest accolade is Matt Barnes' ex.
Lester's such a clown always in the lounge here. Yes, there was that crazy beef between Matt Barnes and Derek Fisher. I don't even really. I'm probably going to mess the the specifics of it up. Is it Derek Fisher was hooking up with Matt Barnes' ex-wife? Is that right, Gary? I think. Do you know?
I don't care
Okay.
about all that. That's
okay.
Just
so
garbage.
Yes, there was some beef between, I think, and if I'm reading Lester's comment right, I think that is probably what was happening. But yeah, Derek Fisher. I don't want to slander Derek Fisher, but
I've heard a lot of nasty things about Matt Barnes, so I wouldn't. And it's from what I can tell, Derek Fisher's a pretty nice guy. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if someone who was with Matt Barnes wanted to pivot and go to Derek Fisher. But again, I don't know anything for sure. But you've heard Whitlock. He talked about a lot of like Matt Barnes was a really, really nasty bully in school. And, a lot of these guys put on a persona on camera and are a lot different away from the camera. And Whitlock said some pretty disturbing things about Matt Barnes. Like he wasn't just like bullying people. He was like really harming people. Like the guy's sadistic.
Now, Matt Barnes he's like, that is part of his shtick, is he's like an enforcer, tough guy, kind of, NBA guy. But like one of my favorite moments, though, I mean, not one of my favorite moments, just one of the many great Kobe Bryant moments.
The flinch. Yes.
Was when Matt Barnes took the ball, like Kobe was inbounding him tight on the inbound play. I'm sure everybody remembers this. Matt Barnes was fixing to pass the inbound pass in, like right under their basket. And Kobe was like inches away from him. And Matt Barnes like pump faked the ball, the pass like right into Kobe's face. Like it literally came like a centimeter from Kobe's nose. And Kobe, just the OG that Kobe is, he did not even flinch. Like he just stood there staring Matt Barnes down, like didn't break a sweat, like didn't even like he didn't even blink. Just quintessential Kobe Bryant. But and again, I don't want to slander. Speaking of Kobe, though, as it pertains to Derek Fisher, I mentioned it earlier, but I just want to accentuate this point. Lester, thank you for that comment. But Derek Fisher, the third leading scorer on 2 of the 3-peat rings of Kobe and Shaq. Derek Fisher, for his career, 8 points per game in 18 years, 2 rebounds per game, and 3 assists. That was the third best player on 2 of the 3-peat rings. And people talk about that team like they were unbeatable or that Kobe was getting carried. Stop. It's just ridiculous. Derek Fisher. And then even today, I see lunacy. I see absolute madness in posts on X and other places that like, Kobe had a super team with Pau Gasol and Derek Fisher is listed as a name. They're like, Kobe had Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom and Derek Fisher. And like, that's supposed to be moving my needle, or that's supposed to be talking to the level of how stacked Kobe's team was. Derek Fisher, that in and of itself says how little help Kobe had, how nuts it was that Kobe has 5 rings, that Derek Fisher is routinely brought up. 8 points per game, career average. His best season of his career was 2005-2006. When he was playing with the Golden State Warriors, he averaged 13 points per game. And I mentioned this earlier. He was the 6th man of the year. He finished 16th in 6th man of the year voting. That's it. That's literally the only accolade in his 18-year career. Not, all rookie team. Not, most improved. Not, a fringe one-time all-star. Literally one league award designation, 16th in 6th man of the year voting, 1 year that he didn't play with Kobe. And that's the guy that we're talking about. That's how good, I see those memes or whatever, mom and dad or grandpa, how good was Kobe Bryant? That's how good. Like Derek Fisher is a name that's brought up as being like an elite performer for Kobe Bryant, like that guy. But thank you, Lester, for that comment. And now we've got Poyo in, who is a regular as well. So many regulars, so many return sponsors every single night somehow. Guys, I'm just touched from how many of you just come in every single night. Like I've done this now. Gary, I don't know. What is it, 16th, 15, 16?
I don't know. I stopped counting.
We started doing this in the second round.
Second round.
Actually, game 7 of the first round, Clippers Nuggets was the very first one.
No, I think we did one the night before. I think that was our second one.
Okay, so we've been doing it basically for like a couple
right
two
at the
rounds
very
almost.
end of the first round.
Yeah, so like I don't know, 17. We do it basically every night. We've missed maybe 2 nights. So 17-ish shows, and the fact that there's just so like the amount of people that come in here every day and give us some kind of donation is crazy to me. And I'm just so thankful to you guys. So, but what does Poyo have for us?
How do you pronounce that? It's Jeremiah. It's not Jeremy.
Gary, we've already been over that. I watch most of these games on mute, and I'm bad at names.
Okay.
I literally just found out that it's Case and Wallace. Even tonight, I was watching the game, and I actually had the volume on for once, and they said Case and Wallace, and I was like, wait, what? I thought this dude was Carson for like 2 years. So
Right.
I'm really poor with.
I haven't even heard of this Thibault person, but okay, I'm going to say Jeremiah
Matisse.
Grant.
That's Matisse Thibault.
Okay.
Matisse
Jeremiah
Thibault.
Grant and Thibault for Porter Jr. Free agent signings: Ty Jerome, Bojan, I don't know how to pronounce that, and
Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic. Okay. See, it's that G that threw me off. If there was no G, I would have said Bogdanovic. It's all the silent letters that throw me off. Okay. And Drummond. Darren Holmes also be joining the rotation. Is this enough? Holmes should help them. He went out at the beginning of the season.
So Duran Holmes was a date, and he was out of date, and he was I think he was like the 17th or 18th pick in the draft there that year that the Nuggets selected him, and there was some optimism about him coming in and potentially being like a guy who can at least give Nikola Jokic like 8-9 minutes a night and them not lose like 10 points a game in those 9 minutes. And then he, of course, ruptured his Achilles in preseason. So who knows? I mean, he's young, but who knows like how good he's going to be coming off of the first year back from the Achilles. And then Poyo, unfortunately, the Nuggets don't really have any means to bring on any guys. Like they've got the MLE, so to speak, the mini mid-level exception that they could use. I think they still have that available. But other than that, like they've got nothing. They've got no means to add anything in free agency. So they're going to need to make a trade if they want to alter the look of this team, change it up. I think they have to. I think it's obvious that this team it stinks and it's beyond competition, even though they nearly won a championship. Like had they won Game 7 this year, and for that matter, if they won Game 7 against the Timberwolves last year, I think they would have won either of these last 2 championships. That's just how good Jokic is, though. It's a magic trick. It's like it's just all smoke and mirrors. It's Nikola Jokic making the team look so much better than they are, but when they get into the trenches with these much, much better, more talented teams in 7-game series, it's hard to beat them 4 times. Like they're drastically outmatched. But who knows? Like maybe seeing what they saw against the Thunder, like when the Thunder go on to easily win the championship, which they will. I think probably the idiot, Josh Kroenke, that he is, will probably sit back and say, hey, look, Michael Porter Jr.'s shoulder was hurt. He clearly wasn't right. Aaron Gordon's hamstring was hurt. He clearly wasn't right. If we get healthy guys for a full playoff run, like we're right there. We took this monster team to 7, and we missed 2 of our best guys. Basically, they were on the court, but they weren't really available. Hey, I think we're right there. So maybe they're fooled into they get this fool's gold again, like they did after the Minnesota series last year, and they just say, let's run it back again. It would be a huge mistake. But then again, what options do they have? Realistically, the contract for MPJ is terrible. The contract for Murray is even worse. Porter Jr. is making $40 million for the next 2 years, and Murray's making $50 million for the next 4. And how are you going to dupe some team into giving you better players for those players that are making more than they should be making? Well, of course, by throwing in draft picks, but they don't have many. They have like one really quality draft pick between now and 2031. I think they have 2 in 26 and 28, but those aren't going to be good picks because Nikola Jokic, no matter who you surround him with, is going to win 50 games and you're going to have a low pick. So ultimately, the Nuggets, they're just up against it. They're in the apron. They're up against the first apron. They have bad guys under contract, not even MPJ necessarily and Murray. I'm talking Dario Saric for 5.5 still next year, million, and Zeke Nnaji still for 8.5 next year. So it's just an utterly desperate and hopeless situation for Denver. Really, Nikola Jokic, the only hope for him competing again for another championship. Look, he'll win 50 next year again. He'll get screwed for the MVP next year again. And then he'll somehow drag a team out of the first round when they should lose in the first round, and then lose probably in 7 again in the second round to one of these better teams like the Timberwolves or maybe even the Lakers next year or the Thunder. So it's just going to be the same old same for him unless he demands a trade, which he's not going to do. He's too classy. He's too honorable. And he's obviously just probably going to sign that 3-year extension that's going to be on the table for him. We've got Dion RX8 on now. Awesome to have you on and sponsoring us here, and new to the sponsor area here on the lounge. So thank you very much for your kind and generous donation. And Gary, what does Dion have for us tonight?
The right Ant-Man comp is Mike Finley. No disrespect.
Yeah, that's not terrible. That's not a terrible comparison. And again, people will look and can kind of compare the numbers or whatever. But Michael Finley played in a much different NBA than did these players today. Average NBA scoring in the mid to upper 90s when Michael Finley was back playing in the NBA when he played in 95-96 to 2010. So 95 to 2010, right in the heart of the dead ball era of the NBA, the lowest scoring, slowest paced era in league history by far, by like over 10 points per game versus any other era, and like 15 to 20 points less per night than in some other eras. So like Finley, who in his prime was dropping like 22, 6, and 5 per game, extrapolate that out to him playing in an era where scoring is like 115 per game. He wasn't like a crazy perennial all-star, though, I have to say. 2-time all-star, finished top 20 in MVP 3 times. But Finley was a very, very strong player. I'd say maybe I would put Ant-Man in obviously a tier above Michael Finley, but no slander to Michael Finley. And I will say this, to Dion's point, I'd say Ant-Man is maybe closer to Michael Finley than he is to Michael Jordan. So I think we can agree probably on that. So thank you though, Dion, for coming in. And now we have Lightspeed, a recurring member here in the sponsor area. Thank you, Lightspeed. And what do we have tonight from Lightspeed?
Thoughts on the Wolves bench outscoring the starters?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good look for the starters. It's impressive for the bench in the sense that the Thunder, realistically, I know the Wolves bench is nasty and one of the best benches in the league, led by the best bench player in the NBA. He was the 6th man of the year last year. I think he was the best bench player this year, Naz Reid. And they get Dante DiVincenzo in the offseason as part of that trade, which isn't really talked about. The Karl-Anthony Towns for Julius Randle trade, Dante DiVincenzo included. And DiVincenzo was massive for the Knicks last year. He's been huge this year for the Timberwolves. He's a perfect fit for them. And he was huge tonight, as was Naz Reid. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker has just been fantastic in this postseason, but specifically in this series. Tonight, 23 points on 9 of 15 from the field, 5 of 18 from 3, and he was a +6 while he was on the floor. He was one of only 2 guys in the positives on plus-minus for Minnesota. Rudy Gobert is the other player who was +4. So, yeah, it's not a good look for the starters. But, look, the Thunder, who I think have the best bench in the league, but maybe Minnesota is challenging that premise a bit now in these last 2 games. But Oklahoma City also has the best starters in the league. They have arguably the best big 3 in the NBA. I think maybe you would say Boston potentially when healthy. Tatum, Brown, and then, I don't know, Derek White maybe is your 3rd player. But to me, Shea, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren are every bit as good as that, if not better. So not only do the Thunder have the best big 3 in the NBA right now, they have the deepest team in the NBA. While the Timberwolves, 3-man bench rotation guys, mainly Reed, DiVincenzo, and Walker have been doing work, the Thunder are still going like they're still playing. They played 4. They actually only played 4 guys tonight off the bench. They typically play 10 guys. And even at this stage, look, you see 9, 10 guys maybe in rotation in the regular season, but in the playoffs, coaches usually tighten that up and play it a little closer to the chest, like 7 guys, maybe 8. No. The Thunder are still going 9, 10 every game, even into the Western Conference Finals, like 9, 10 extensive guys playing extensive minutes, I should say. So, but my thoughts on the Wolves bench outscoring the Stars, bad, especially in such a close game. Look, last game, if it happened, whatever, like the bench played half the game. So okay. But in such a close game tonight, 128-126, 2-point nail biter, it was, under 10 the whole fourth quarter, under a 10-point game in the whole fourth quarter. The Thunder were going back and forth between like 3 to 7-point leads most of the fourth. The Wolves got it within like 2 a couple times. So you would not expect that the Wolves, who also their starters are stacked, that their bench would be outscoring it. Not a good look. Jason Price in next. Jason Price again.
I just don't like the way DiVincenzo is such a bully. Remember what he did to LeBron at the end of the game? I mean, he's so much bigger than LeBron. LeBron clearly needs more help, because Dante DiVincenzo just totally bullied LeBron. He's so much bigger and stronger than LeBron, isn't he?
Well, I will say this though. DiVincenzo is a bit of a thug. He's a bit of a nuisance. Yes, I know you're being tongue in cheek, a little coy, because LeBron is obviously towers over DiVincenzo, but DiVincenzo is a little irritant. He's got a little Draymond Green in him. He's one of those guys that you can't stand this guy. If you're 29 other teams in the NBA, you hate this guy's guts and you love him if he's on your team. So, because I mean, look at the fight that broke out between them and the Pistons, I think, earlier in the year. Like that was all on him, I thought. And he fits the persona of this Minnesota team very well. Minnesota is a brutish, bullying team, which want to out physical you and get up into you. And the problem is though, like when a bully comes up against a bigger bully, it typically doesn't go well for the smaller bully. And the Oklahoma City Thunder they deploy similar tactics. They play the same way as Minnesota, but they're just better at it. So I think what we're seeing here is just indicative of that point.
Ironically, LeBron was the one who ran into him. It was at the end of game 5 with like 5 minutes to go. And he did that so he could fake that injury to use as an excuse. So I just thought
Gary,
that was funny.
More on that tomorrow when the Dancing King video hits airwaves on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. Jason Price, a regular sponsor. Many thanks for your continued support and generosity, Jason. Gary, what does Jason have for us?
Yeah, and he's bringing up LeBron, so that's why I threw in that nugget on LeBron just now. Great win for the Thunder. Quick question about LeBron and profanity. Seems like he purposely curses as much as possible. Do you agree? Why does he do that?
I don't know, Gary. I probably have studied this guy for the vast majority of his career. I saw him actually play in high school. Believe it or not, LeBron and I are actually about the same age. I know I look good. I know that you guys will be shocked to hear that.
Kendrick Perkins too.
But I'm about the same age as LeBron James, and I actually saw him in person play in high school. I was like a courtside essentially, so I was about in high school too at that time. And but I don't know why he does. I don't know why he does it. It is look, I have a very foul mouth. I know that will shock many of you because I don't really curse at all in my videos or in these lounge sessions. But I do have a very vulgar vernacular typically, but I choose not to do that when I'm on display, even only with videos that are generating whatever, anywhere between, 40 to 100,000 views. And then these live sessions, which get about, 5 to 10,000 views. But I just want to, present more of a professional demeanor and just more of a family friendly type showcase. So I don't know why LeBron in like press conferences even that are like right after games, and then on his podcasts and like every chance he gets, I don't really know, Jason, to answer your question. I've given up trying to dissect the psyche of LeBron James. I just, for the most part, am responding to it. And actually it's funny you mention it because I am, like I've mentioned, this Dancing King video I'm working on. I have some drops from LeBron in, and I have to he said the F word in one of them. I have to blow it up. I have to drop the volume on the F bomb, then drop in the censor beep. So it makes extra work for me. So I really don't appreciate it either. I do, Gary. I want to jump ahead real quick. In these super chats, I'll be back. We've got a couple still to go, but I want to jump down to one we got a couple minutes ago. My main guy, Luke Jett, back in. I talked about him. Shout out to him on he works on the Whitlock show, Fearless. So I got to hang out with him in Nashville when I was in studio a few weeks back, about a month ago now, all of a sudden. He was very kind and generous actually in driving me places sometimes too, because I'm gonna be honest with you. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it in Nashville. This was my third time there, but the Ubers are outrageous. They're insane. I don't even want to recount how much I dropped in Uber's charges in the 4 days I was in Nashville. But Luke saved me some of those Uber charges and getting me some places after some of the shooting sessions that we did. And now he comes in yet again with a generous sponsorship to the lounge here in Skap Live After Dark. So Luke, welcome back into you. Luke is a massive OKC fan. He's a big Thunder fan. So I was actually texting with him before I hopped on live, but shout out Luke. Thank you for supporting us here. And Gary, what is the question here from Luke?
What up, Skap? Just now tuning in. You probably spoke on it earlier, but what was the bigger factor in tonight's game? Ant only going for 16 or Jalen Williams for 34?
Yeah, good question, Luke. I did speak about it. We've just ticked over the hour 30 mark here in the lounge. So we've been on for a while. It's 1 a.m. where I'm at in the East Coast in Florida is where I hail from right now on this broadcast, if you will. Luke, I know, is in I get these times confused because I go on Whitlock's show a lot and I always confuse what time I'm supposed to be on. I think it's just about midnight there. So they're like an hour behind me. So I did talk about the game in the lead in, Luke. And I think, look, the big takeaway for me ultimately in this game is Minnesota showed how immensely talented, immensely stacked that they are. I think they are the second or third best team in the NBA from a talent standpoint, from 1 through 8, if you want to look at it that way. Maybe even like just 1 through 9, like a full rotation. I'd say Minnesota is as good as basically anybody in the NBA or way better other than the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that's probably deeper, I think, than Minnesota, while Minnesota's frontline bench players have definitely been outplaying the Thunder. I'd say the Thunder go like 10 solidly deep. I mean, the fact that it honestly disgusts me. The fact that Nikola Jokic literally cannot get a damn center to save his life to back him up. And in a game here, in a close 2-point playoff game, Isaiah Hartenstein plays 16 minutes and scores 2 points. It's insane how loaded this Oklahoma City Thunder team is. So my takeaway really is Minnesota showed how great they are. They showed their total depth. They showed in a game where Ant-Man, let's not give Julius Randle a pass, Luke. Ant-Man, 16 points only on 13 shots, 5 of 13. He had only 6 assists and 5 turnovers in this game as well. But Julius Randle, 5 points on 1 of 7. And in a game where cumulatively those two guys score 21 total points between them on 6 of 20 from the field, Minnesota is right there because they're so loaded. Because they got 60 freaking points from their bench right after they got 60 in the last game. But the frontline star power of the Oklahoma City Thunder, while the Thunder to me are the deepest team in the NBA, they also to me have the best big three in the business. Again, I'm saying you can maybe present to me Boston when healthy, Tatum, Brown, and Derek White. Maybe you can present those guys. as a rival. But the Thunder, to me, with Shea, Chet, and Jalen Williams, are as good as any big three in the game. I think Chet Holmgren, had he not gotten hurt this year, would have been all NBA, would have been all NBA defense, maybe even would have gotten some NBA Defensive Player of the Year votes. He missed 50 games because of the broken hip. So Jalen Williams is like, no biggie. I'll just be all NBA defense, be an all-star. Like, that's their third best player, in my opinion. All three of them played big tonight. Shea, look, was excellent. 40 points, 10 assists and 9 rebounds, but like 13 of 30. He also shot 12-14 from the free throw line. The big thing here, Chet, 21 points, and he had 2 big-time threes. And then Jalen Williams, who gets slandered all the time. I get it. He was basically to blame for them losing last year in the playoffs. And he had some real stinkers in the Nuggets series, but he also had some real great games in the Nuggets series. And by and large, he's been great in this series. And tonight, no different. 34 points on 13 of 24, but 6 of 9 from the three-point line. And he, too, hit some massive shots down the stretch. So I would say, all told, Luke, is it good Thunder or bad Timberwolves, or at least bad Ant and bad Randall? I would say the main overriding story in this is good Thunder. Like, they're just that good. Like, they can weather anything from you. They got outplayed primarily in mostly all of the winning categories tonight, other than turnovers. And yet the Thunder just weathered it and still get a massive win on the road. And now it's all but over, Luke. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your Oklahoma City Thunder. They are now up 3-1. There's only been 13 teams all time, just to rehash this, out of hundreds of instances, has a team overcome a 3-1 deficit. And the Oklahoma City Thunder just played their 97th game of the season. That's regular season and playoffs combined. And they have never, not one time, lost more than 2 games consecutively. Now they're going to have to lose 3 straight, including 2 at home, in order to lose the series. It ain't going to happen. It's over. Congratulations to your Thunder. They are back in the NBA Finals, the first time in 13 years. And again, Luke, thank you for your continued support here. Next, we come back to Humping Badger, who is yet again another regular in the lounge. Humping Badger, thanks to you. Welcome back in to the sponsor area of the lounge. And Gary, what does your boy, I know, Gary, you're a Badger fan, so what does your boy Humping Badger have for us tonight?
Yes, fellow Badger. Not fellow Humping Badger, but fellow Badger. Why even bother doing conferences anymore? The West is routinely much better than the East. Let's take the winner of each division as automatic qualifiers, then do straight seeding 1 through 16 based on record. So I guess it would be 5 through 16 if you had each.
But you know what? I don't even want that part of it. Like, I don't even want the straight the 1 through 5. Let's just do 1 through 16. I've been saying it for 20 years. Like, back when the Lakers were playing like 50-win teams in the first damn round, and the East had like 2 teams under 500 in their playoff seed tree. Like, I've been saying it for 20. Basically, since Jordan retired, the West has been substantially better than the East. Like, a lot. Like, it's not close. Like, there's been like 2 outlier years in like 25 seasons where the East was marginally better, or at least not as terrible as they typically are. But by and large, the Western Conference is 10 times better than the East every year. So I've been saying it 4 years. Let's go 1 through 16. Another thing that annoys the ever-loving hell out of me is in the NFL, where division winners get to host a round against a much higher, seed, what should be a much higher seed. Routinely, you see teams that are like 9-8, like hosting a team that's like 13-4, because they're in a much better division. And the Lions put up a rule change this year to the rule committee to change that, to obliterate division lines and just seed it 1 through 7. And then they pulled it for whatever reason. Like, why did you pull it? Like,
I have one reason, possibly. And maybe that's because the traveling would be so much harsher. Say in the first round, Golden State was playing the Knicks. How much harder would that be than Golden State playing the Lakers or the Suns, or the Knicks playing the Celtics or the Sixers? So I'm thinking that's why they adhere to the conferences.
You know what, Gary? Figure it out. We've got, this is like in this era of
I agree with Humping Badger and you. I'm just saying that's the only thing I can think of.
And that's fair. But
why
like,
not?
But also, Gary, like, all right, look, let's space out more. Like, we're going every other night now.
Right.
Like, it feels like every game is every other night. Make it 2 nights. Like on a travel day, like you fly, you play 2, you go back to back, then you get 3 days and you get an extra day on the travel.
I agree.
Like, just space it out more. And like, we've got these luxury airlines, like these guys probably have full damn beds on the plane, like whatever, like figure it out. Like, I like the 1 through 16. I like this idea by Humping Badger. And I've been screaming about it for 20 years. Look, this is my promise to you guys. When we get Commissioner Nosferatu out of the way and Skap Attack takes over control of the NBA league offices, this will be a change that I enact. You have my word. I'm Jay Skapanak, and I support this message. But thank you, Humping Badger. I appreciate you. Next in, we have Will N, yet another regular coming in to support us here. Thank you. And Gary, what is the question or comment here?
Who would win 3-on-3? SGA, Jalen, and Chet, or early 2010s, KD, Russ, and James?
So look, like, I think KD, Russ, and James are obviously like historically more relevant right now than these 3 players, and they likely will be, maybe other than SGA. Those 3 players will be historically more relevant than the other 2. That look, all 3 of those, KD, Russ, and James Harden, all league MVPs. Obviously, Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren are never going to win a league MVP. And they're, all top. I think they're all top 75 players. But I think, though, in context of a real basketball game and playing 3-on-3, like, okay, Russell Westbrook's like 6'3", James Harden's like 6'5", fat, lazy, and can't defend a cardboard cutout. And then you have 3 all-NBA defensive caliber players who are also like, Chet Holmgren is a freaking, like, he's like, has like a 7'6" wingspan, and he can guard the perimeter too. Like, I don't see any way, actually, KD, Russ, and James Harden beat in 3-on-3 SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. Like, I just don't see that happening.
Is Chet like a really good defender?
Really good.
Okay, if he's really good, then he'll slow KD, because I was watching the 2012 finals. KD was freaking unguardable, but the Heat didn't have a Chet Holmgren type. If they had, they could have slowed him down at least, but he was unguardable in those finals.
Gary, Chet Holmgren, think of him. I know you're a big Spurs fan, a big Victor Wembanyama fan.
He's a light version of Wemby. That's why I'm like, Wemby came in the league, and then I'm like, great, we've got this original player, but now we've got Chet Holmgren all of a sudden, who's basically like the diet version of Wemby. He's not quite as good, but he's not that far off. I'm like, this guy's amazing. And now Şengün is like those guys as well on Houston, all in the same cluster area in Houston, San Antonio, and Oklahoma, right? The same area. And you've got these 3 dynamic centers. And I don't know what it is. Wemby has a very friendly demeanor, but I could tell the first time he played Chet, he hates Chet. Yeah. That is going to be a tense rivalry for a long time.
And look, the Spurs, to your point, like, you talk about how they're building the right way, and they've got young length and defense as well. Like, they're both defensively built, minded teams. They're just, I think that it's them, those Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and San Antonio are built the way of the future. Like, you need a star surrounded by long, interchangeable defensive pieces, like 4, 5, 6 elite defenders that could shoot, they could play 3 and D around one stud player, and then just muck it up and just beat the hell out of the other teams. Like, all 3 of those teams are built the way. If you're not built that way, i.e., the Denver Nuggets, like, good luck winning.
This is why I'm big on Stephon Castle. It's not for his offense, it's for his defense. That's why I don't want to get rid of, that's why I don't want to trade him away. You see what I'm saying? He's you agree he's a good defender, right?
For sure, yeah.
That's why he won those championships at UConn back to back. That's not a coincidence. That's why I need him with Wemby for defense, and even Jeremy Sohan, who's not very good offensively, but he's a really good defender. So you could really build around that, and that's why I want them to continue at this pace. I don't expect this to be like OKC anytime soon, but I think in 5 to 6 years we could be if we build the right way right now. So that's why I'm so adamant about that.
Fair points. And next we have in AMD, another recurring sponsor. Again, it just seems like it's a broken record. Every time I seem to pull up one of these super chats, it's someone that's just sponsoring us yet again. So thank you, AMD. And what is the question or comment here?
Are we seeing an era of super teams based off stockpiled picks? Could the Mavericks be the next one after trading AD alongside Thunder, Spurs, maybe Houston?
All those teams have bright futures, I think, more so the Thunder, Spurs, and Houston than the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks, look, they've got, yes, a good young transcendent player coming in Cooper Flagg, but Anthony Davis is like 32-ish and injury prone in his 20s. So obviously, I think he's just going to become more injury prone now as he gets into his 30s. Kyrie Irving also into his 30s, also rehabbing a significant knee injury this offseason. He's going to miss a large portion of the year next year. And then, I think their window is more like 2 to 3 to 4 years out. So I don't think necessarily Cooper Flagg meets that same time frame as the Thunder, Spurs, and Houston. But if you're indicating that they're going to trade AD, I don't know exactly what kind of package they're going to get back for that at this point. But I think super teams is more of I've referred to the Boston Celtics in the 80s and the Lakers in the 80s as super teams. I think super teams, I don't know that Boston would necessarily would rank or rate, or that they would be necessarily a super team, because I think the Lakers in the 80s do, though, because they got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from a different team, and they did draft Magic and they did draft Worthy. Anyway, though, I think super teams, we're talking semantics. Like, it's how do you define a super team? To me, like, super teams, you need to have 3 perennial all-star players that were put together inorganically on a team for them to be counted as a super team, in my opinion. So like Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James, 3 perennial all-stars who were inorganically put together. LeBron came from Cleveland. Chris Bosh came from Toronto. And then, of course, Wade, they joined Wade, who's in Miami. But a team of players that were not built, that were not, drafted and then built through their ground root system or whatever, that just, they went out, they headhunted, mercenary, snatched these 3 elite, like top 10 perennial all-star guys and threw them all together. To me, that's a super team. Even Golden State, like maybe Clay wouldn't be characterized as like a perennial all-star, even though he made like 5 or 6 all-star teams. But you had Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, like both of them making all-star teams throughout that stretch. Steph Curry, a perennial all-star. Kevin Durant, a perennial all-star. That's a super team, and it's inorganic. They put most of the team together the right way, but then they snatch. And look, if you have most of the team together the right way and you pick one like key contributor, fine. But Kevin Durant wasn't a key contributor. He was the second best player in the world. So like when you put the second best player in the world on a team that has 2 or 3 perennial all-stars, like that is going to be a super team too to me. So the people you're talking about in this, the Thunder, Spurs, and Houston, they're not super teams to me. If Houston trades away so like one piece maybe and a bunch of their picks to bring in Giannis, even then to me, Houston isn't a super team, because they've got basically Giannis and Alfred Schengen, who is like a fringe superstar to me. Now, if the Spurs would get Giannis, then you're talking De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, and Giannis. That would be a super team. But like, who knows if they're going to do that? They're still waffling. Gary, obviously, moderator Gary doesn't want to see it. I'm sure there's a percentage of the Spurs base that don't want that to happen. So we'll see if that happens. But I don't think right now, I would say there are no super teams in the NBA as we stand right here and right now. And some of that is by design of the league, with putting in these really harshly punitive repercussions for repeat offenders into the luxury tax, it basically makes it almost impossible to put 3 primed superstars on one roster. So no, to answer your question, AMD, I don't think we're going to see super teams anymore in the NBA. I think we're going to see a big time dynasty, though. The Thunder are a dynasty, and they may have super team components in that they have 3 perennial all-stars, but they were built the right way. Like, they were built organically. So I wouldn't call them a super team, to answer.
I wanted to clarify, De'Aaron Fox is not very good on defense, is he? He's just really good on offense, right?
Yeah. And
that's
really,
why I didn't want to. That's why I did not want to swap him out for Castle. That's exactly why, because I want my guys to be able to defend just like OKC does. We got to be able to try to match that. So, and that's another thing. De'Aaron Fox is probably going to try to seek out a max contract as well. Obviously, Wemby's going to get a max contract. That's why we can't even think about getting Giannis, because he's obviously going to get a max contract. Like, what else are we going to do? Then the other guys are all going to leave. Not that most other guys are great right now, but you just need to build. You need to build for the salary cap. That's why OKC is so scary. They are built for this salary cap. They have all the right pieces who are good, but none of the guys are going to be demanding max contracts outside of SGA. So they're going to find a way to make it all work. So the Spurs have to match that. You can't do that with Wembanyama, Giannis, and De'Aaron Fox.
You know, Gary, I agree with you, actually. Like, it's because, again, of the punitive nature of the cap and the 2 aprons now. Like, you don't want 3 top heavy guys. Like, you really don't. You want the Thunder, you want the Timberwolves, you want maybe even Indiana. You want 7, 8 guys that like could be key contributors. You don't want 3 or 4 dudes and then no drop, like a complete drop off to the bench, no bench at all. Like, you can't, you're going to gas out in 7-game series against these guys. So like, I agree. I think you want 7 or 8 well-rounded, good, interchangeable guys with like 1 star. And then rather than 2 or 3 elite superstars and nobody else.
And this is what I'm getting about the Nuggets. The Nuggets would actually be that if Murray and Porter were consistent. Like, remember game 3, how they were so consistent against Porter was like 7 of 11. He just came out the gate. If he was playing like that and Murray was playing like playoff Murray all throughout the season consistently, the Nuggets
you have Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown.
Yeah. Gordon is consistent. It's Porter and Murray, especially Porter, who are so inconsistent. The Nuggets have all the right pieces when they're consistent. So the Nuggets have what OKC, well, they're not defensively at OKC, but they have the right pieces supporting Jokic. It's just they're inconsistent, and that's why they drop down so drastically.
Yeah, I still see these teams, though, with these, like, all their players are like 6'7" to 6'9" with long arms and like are defensive studs. And like, I see those guys and I'm like, why can't Jokic just have like 5 or 6 of those guys? Like, man, like, he doesn't need these guys that are 20, 25 point per game scorers offensively. He'll do the work offensively. Like, even like, look at like Jaden McDaniel. Like, look at a guy like that. Like, that is who they need around Jokic. Like, think about Jaden McDaniels on the Nuggets instead of Michael Porter Jr. Like, those are the kind of like things that they just failed in team construction. But yeah, good point, Gary. Next,
remember when the Spurs dynasty, Tim Duncan and always had role players who all Jokic needs are role players who would hit their open shots. Like, remember guys like Brent Barry and Bruce Bowen? Those guys would hit those open threes. That's the difference in the Spurs having a dynasty and the Nuggets when Murray and Porter missed their open threes. That is the Nuggets' problem. All Jokic needs are role players hitting their open shots. You don't even have to drive to the goal and create your own shots. Just make the shots that Jokic creates for you, because Jokic is so good. He'll do the work, like you said. He'll create opportunities for you, but you have to do your part and knock down the open shots. That's all you have to do.
100%. Agreed.
And they'd probably be going for a 3-peat right now if those guys were doing that.
They probably would be. I agree with that. Dylan is next in. Dylan, who is yet again another routine member here of the lounge. Gary, what's the question or comment from Dylan?
Dylan, I am actually constructing a video right now that should be up in a couple days about this very thing. LeBron is hurting his legacy the longer he plays. And Michael Jordan coming back is playing a role in this. I'll explain that on my video.
Yeah, and I agree with this. I've talked about this a couple times. Actually, I think I first might have mentioned it on Whitlock's show, speaking of him. And it was something that Jason indicated that he had not ever thought of before until I mentioned it. Like the longevity thing, which is like the biggest feather in LeBron's cap, because his counting stats, his accrual stats are so outrageous now looking because he's played so long at such a high level. That's like maybe his biggest feather, but it's also becoming now also one of his biggest points of criticism because he's now played for so much longer than these guys. He has so much more time to win and he's won less. Like the fact, even with Larry Bird, like you could say, oh, well, Larry Bird only had 3. Okay, but Bird played like 10 years, basically. Like he played like maybe even less. Like Larry Bird was whatever, 23 or 24 when he came in the league and he hurt his back. He was basically done by like 32. Like, so Larry Bird won 3 rings in like 9 years. Like LeBron has had 22 years of exquisite health and luck in terms of durability. And all for to win 4. Kobe won 5 in really like 16 healthy seasons. Jordan won 6 in like what, 12 real years, 13 real years. Like LeBron, 22 years and counting. And from year 7 on, loaded teams by and large. At least one perennial all-star and like stacked Hall of Fame like caliber player. Like Dwayne Wade was a top 3 player in the NBA when he joined him. Anthony Davis was a top 7 or 8 player when he joined. Now he's got Luka Doncic, who's a top. And look, people will say, "Oh, but LeBron's old now." He's second team All NBA still. So like that would be indicative of the fact he's still a top 10 player and he's got a top 5 player and he's winning 1 game in the playoffs. It's humiliating. It is absolutely hurting his legacy now because he's played so long and relatively won so little. Like when I say LeBron's a loser or something and people push back and, oh, he won 4. Yeah, he won 4 of 10 finals appearances and he won 4 in 22 years of exquisite health. And he's been all NBA, an all NBA team designation like 20 of those years or something, like 19 years. Like, and he's got other like all NBA caliber players. Like, win more. Like, that's why he just has not won enough with the amount of time that he's been given, that it is now actually hurting him. I think, honestly, Gary, if he had retired after the Lakers won the championship in the bubble, I think he would have like a better looking resume, quite frankly, because he would be like, oh, like I won my 3rd championship on 3 different teams, finals MVP in all of them, 4 championships in whatever it was, like 15 years, 16 years, like, I'm the GOAT now. Like, definitely, like I could see the case even better now than going limping on for like 6 more years at a very high playing level, but failing and choking in like every series that he plays in.
He's diluted his resume. That's what I'm talking about on this video. And that's why I believe they're sending Jordan back, because Jordan's going to kind of help. I compared LeBron to that. He's worn out his welcome. He's like that lingering guest at a dinner party. Like all the other guests have left, but he's still at the table eating as the host is cleaning the table and wiping it down. And he's still talking and annoying, and he's oblivious to the body language and the hints that the host is throwing out that it's time to leave. And this dude invites himself to stay over for the night. That's essentially what LeBron is doing at this point.
That's a fair analogy, Gary. And we go next to Gary. Gary, what is happening? What's up, my friend? Thank you so much for your continued support of us here, of me in the Skap Attack channel, and of us in the lounge. Gary, what does Gary have, Gary?
I have to say, out of everyone who's ever dropped a super chat comment here, I think this guy has the best name of all. So props to Gary here. And he says, my guy, Skap salute. Where will Giannis end up? I'm going to try to stay. I'm going to try to hold it. And I'm going to mute myself and be quiet, because we know I can go off on this.
Right. Well, first of all, Gary, salute to you and thank you for supporting me. And where do I think Giannis? Well, Gary's muting himself because we got into like a heated back and forth about the fact that the Spurs are going to be in the mix. And Gary, as we just talked about a couple of minutes ago, Gary doesn't want that, and I understand why. Because even though Giannis does fit the defensive identity of the Spurs, he does also limit the flexibility and the depth that they can have moving forward, and also makes them a bit older because he's 31 years old and the Spurs are kind of building more for the future. But I do also understand on the other side of the coin, the Spurs' desire to do it. If you can get a healthy Giannis, a healthy Wemby, a healthy De'Aaron Fox, like that is, I'm talking about the Thunder have the best big three. That would be the best big three now in the NBA, in my estimation, by a lot. So I get the desire to cut the corner, to build the super team, and to try to grab one of these titles in the next 2 or 3 years, rather than stay the course and try to build a sustained title contending team in the next like 5 years or so. But much to the relief of Gary, I actually think while the Spurs make sense, especially because they have the second overall pick in the draft and the 14th, I actually think it's going to be Houston. I think Houston makes more sense. I think they're going to be more tenacious and more willing to give up various pieces that the Spurs might say, look, like, listen, we're not willing to give up these guys. Like there are certain guys that are untouchable, and maybe because of that, they kind of leverage Houston off and say like, hey, look, if you're willing to go to this level, the Spurs won't, like, we'll cut the deal with you. So I think Houston is going to get the deal done. They have plenty of picks to use, maybe not as high end right now as the Spurs, but they have plenty of picks to offer, and they have also young elite players and assets that they could pair up with those picks. So. And I think Houston, look, they won 52 games this year. They were the second seed in the Western Conference, yet they lost in the first round. And to me, they lost to the better team in Golden State, even though they won 52, even though they were the 2 seed. So they can go out and say, hey, we're getting Giannis. It's not a super team. We just are a piece away. We need a veteran guy. And Giannis is going to be the guy to lead us. And then Giannis, in turn, too, can go to Houston and say, hey, look, like, I'm not jumping to a super team. I'm just going to a team that is a piece away, and I'm hoping I could be that piece. I think it just looks better optically for the Houston to make the deal for both parties, for Houston, for Giannis, rather than San Antonio. If San Antonio makes the deal, and Giannis is basically this super team mercenary, like going to try to take some chintzy rings. So I think the narrative is just different for Houston, and I think it works better. I think that the deal works better for Houston on paper as well. So I'm looking for Giannis to end up in Houston, and it pains me to say that because I really want Jokic to go to Houston. And I want them to trade Schengen and Dylan Brooks and like 4 first rounds and just send Jokic there. And I think Jokic would instantly win a championship, but it ain't going to happen. Jokic is going to sign the extension. Giannis is going to push to move. And I think it's going to just Houston. The stars are going to align for that one. Much to the relief of moderator Gary.
I hope so. The only thing that Giannis might choose San Antonio is I think these guys, for whatever reason, they love Wemby. Like Durant loves him. Giannis loves him. Jokic loves him. He's got a very friendly demeanor. He's very focused. He seems like a great team player. And he's just so different than anyone we've seen. So that's what I'm afraid of, is that Giannis, it'd be great for the next 3 to 5 years, but I'm wanting us to build for the next 12 to 15 years, which is what we're doing. Because OKC's built for the next 12 to 15 years, are they not?
Yeah, for sure.
How old's SGA?
26.
26. There you go. So, all right, here we go. Kayoka back with a 2-piece. Braun is expected to join Curry because he can't win with Luka.
Well, they've been trying to get, Golden State has actually been trying to team up LeBron and Curry for like 2 years now. And as we saw in the Olympics, LeBron actually and Curry did play quite well together. The dynamic was good. LeBron could focus on, he doesn't really defend anymore, but he could focus on defense in those Olympics and just kind of doing his, full court game outside of scoring and clutch play because he's not good at clutch play. So just really igniting Steph and Steph could be that guy off the ball working around LeBron. So that actually it has proven to that be an equation that works, a formula, so to speak, that it worked out for those two in the Olympics. So, and LeBron had rejected the offer, I think 2 years ago, to team with Curry, but maybe now, just maybe moving forward, seeing as how he can't get out of the first round with Anthony Davis or Luka Doncic, maybe he goes and teams with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry and makes another super team, one more, to see his way out of the NBA. Who knows? And then, hey, I'm good with that. Then Luka could reject the Lakers extension, and the Nuggets could clear the space, and Luka and Nikola Jokic could team up in next summer, and we can make that dream become my reality. So, Kayako, thank you for your continued support of me here. I appreciate you, and that is, yeah, it's a fair point. It's just pretty embarrassing, the ongoing antics and exploits of the king, the drama king, which again, stay tuned for the Dancing King piece that will be coming out tomorrow. Next, we've got Xavier DeGodin again. Xavier, what is happening? Welcome back into you. Yet another regular here in the lounge. Gary, what does Xavier have for us tonight?
Do you think the Lakers retire number 3 for AD?
I sure hope not, Xavier. I really hope that the Lakers reject the pressure to retire LeBron's number 2. Like, I don't think LeBron or Anthony Davis warrant a jersey retirement. They won one championship, which came in the Disney bubble. With, again, like, that team was really good. Like, people, I mean, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Alex Caruso, like, that was a really, really good team. And AD and LeBron were both top 5 players in the NBA that year. They were, I mean. And then they got the advantage of a 3-month rest. Like, the one thing that could have got them was injury or burnout with being an older team, and AD obviously injury prone. Instead, they got 3 months off. They got to come into it completely fresh. They didn't have to do any travel. So that's the one title they win, like a set-up title for them to prevail in. And then that's it. Other than that, they got out of the first round once in like 6 years together. So I sure hope not. I hope neither get a jersey retired. I hope LeBron does, and I'm sure he will. But at least hopefully Jeannie doesn't go full on, doesn't lose her mind all the way and give him a statue. That would be absolutely preposterous to me. AMD is back in. AMD with a follow-up, I think, maybe. Or maybe just a new question. AMD, what is the but thank you for coming back in and sponsoring us again tonight. What is the question this time?
Okay, I feel like I'm gonna have to go into accountant mode here. I've got to do some work for this to navigate through this. I guess is it a trade proposal? Denver gets Clark and Grayson Allen. Okay, I don't really want Grayson Allen, but whatever. Memphis gets Porter Jr., Steven Adams, Tate, Eason. Brooklyn 27, number 1 via Houston. Houston, Ja Morant. Suns, Najee. First, Denver 2031. Memphis 2027 plus 2025 Houston second plus money.
Wow, AMD, I'm impressed with your salary cap jugglings here. This is a huge involved amount of teams. This would be a really challenging trade to complete, but I don't see anything necessarily that I would disagree. I don't know why though. Why would Memphis send out Ja Morant but bring back Michael Porter Jr.? I guess his contract in 2 years isn't fully guaranteed, so he's kind of on a semi-expiring contract, I think. At the end of this year. So I guess maybe there would be some attractiveness in that if Memphis is indeed going to just blow it up and go full-blown rebuild mode. Other than that, I don't know why you move on from Ja, but bring on Michael Porter Jr. I think I think I would probably move on to this. I think Memphis has played out I think they've gone as far as they're going to go with this course. So I think maybe it would be time to kind of go in a different direction for Memphis, but I don't know if they're actually ready to do that. Ja Morant, when he isn't bringing firearms like into public areas that he's not allowed to bring them into, or making TikTok videos about it, And when he's not getting hurt and missing like 30 games, which, let's be honest, that's essentially every year one of those two things is happening. But he was first team All-NBA one year when he actually played a legitimate amount of games and didn't get in his own way. He is like a top 10 talent in the NBA. So, and he is still very young. I want to see exactly how old he is. I would guess barely 25. He is 25, exactly. And again, to my point, he was All NBA first team. No, wait, I'm sorry. He was All NBA second team. I guess he was not All NBA first team. I'm wrong about that. He was second team All NBA, but he was second team All NBA at 22 years of age and playing only 57 games. I mean, this guy barely plays, actually. This is insane. 67 games, 63, 57, 59, 9, and 50. He's been out of the 50s twice, and it was his first two seasons. But I mean, he is obviously elite when he plays. Like 26 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds 1 year, 27 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds 1 year. I mean, when he plays, he is an elite talent. I don't know. I would probably hold on to him for one more year, but you're out here, you're grinding, you're working, you're trying to get Denver some semblance of a supporting cast around Jokic, AMD. I see you working and I appreciate you for it. We got Doc Ock in next. I'm pretty far behind still in these super chats. This one came in a half an hour ago. So thank you, Doc Ock. Hopefully you stuck around for the answer. But what is the question or comment from Doc Ock, Gary?
Hey, Skap, love you. Can you shout out my sister Maria? She loves your LeBron slander videos.
Maria, what is happening? Shout out to you. Many thanks, Maria, to you. I love to hear that Skap has some lady support going on here. It's not a big percentage. I think, Gary, I always was around 2%. In terms of my women demographic, it's now jumped up to about 5%. I don't want to speculate, Gary. It could be because I'm putting my face on more. Now I don't know. But obviously many of my LeBron slander videos are just voiced over, and Maria loves me for the content, not
for your heart.
The face, not the look. So Maria, thank you so much for supporting me, for supporting the channel, and for rejecting the LeBron mythos that the media has built up. And Doc Ock, many thanks to you for coming in here as a repeat sponsor. And I'm sure you're in here no matter what every night, whether you're in the sponsorship area of the lounge or not. So many thanks to you. And hello, Maria. And thank you, guys, both of you, for your continued and ongoing support. We've got Stefan back. Actually, wait, we figured this out. I was mispronouncing Stefan before, and now I have forgotten again. I think it's
Stefan. I believe.
Okay.
I believe.
Stefan, do not send me another super chat to correct us if we're wrong. Just, Gary, keep an eye on the actual feed. And Stefan, please come in if we are mispronouncing that and correct us, because you did. I've asked that you correct us before you did, and now I have forgotten. So my inclination is Stefan, and I'm pretty sure I'm wrong in my inclinations most of the time, so I might be wrong on that. But Gary, what is the question or comment, though?
What's up, Skap? Who's the worst organization, and what can Charlotte do to turn it around? Folded on Kobe and Shea.
I just got, Stefan did not come in, but LXAR did in the chat and said, Stefan, last part reads fan. So Stefan,
I remember, if I remember correctly, they did correct it before, and it was Finn, like Fin.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Here we go. I just want to pull up the exact standing, see exactly, because we don't know really. So the worst team in the NBA this year, technically, is the Utah Jazz, 17-65. But that's just record based. Actually, the Washington Wizards have the worst SRS by a lot. They're minus 12.14 SRS this year. That is like drastically the worst. Like the next worst actually is the Charlotte Hornets. Speaking of them, at minus 9.10. So the Wizards are by far the worst team in the NBA. They lost only one game more, or they won only one more game than the Jazz, but their SRS was significantly worse. And they got outscored by 12 points per game, which was the worst differential in the league as well. So while the Hornets are I'd say honestly the Wizards probably are looking more assy to me right off the bat. And again, they beat the Nuggets twice, and Jokic had like historic games in both of those losses. So just marinate, let that wash over you. The leading scorer this year for the Washington Wizards was Jordan Poole. And just to give you some indication on Jordan Poole, he's been in the NBA for 6 seasons. He's never been an all-star one time. No league designation or awards of any kind to speak of. He's a 16 point per game career scorer in 6 years, and he hasn't even really started. He's only started 249 of 412 games. So that guy is the leading scorer of the Washington Wizards. Man, I would be so utterly pissed if I was Washington. Gary, I don't know where they're picking. I know it ain't the top 2 picks because Dallas got the first pick and your Spurs got the second. I would be fuming if I was the Wizards. Can we?
I'll look it up.
Okay, look it up and see where the Wizards
They're
actually.
like somewhere around 6 or 7.
That is appalling to me. If I'm a Wizards,
is Philly? I want to say Philly's 3rd.
Oh my
Philly's
God.
in the top 4. I remember, and then was it Detroit that? Okay, here we go. Okay, the Wizards are 6. Okay, we've got Dallas, San Antonio, Philadelphia, Charlotte 4, Utah 5, Washington 6, New Orleans 7, Brooklyn 8, Toronto 9, and Houston 10 from Phoenix.
Okay.
Top 10.
So there you go. I mean, Washington, I don't think they have no hope. So to me, the worst franchise, Stefan, would be to me Washington. But looking you mentioned Charlotte specifically. Looking at them, look, they have a big talent on that roster. And the ball boy, LaMelo Ball. Like, actually, these guys just didn't play, quite frankly. Like, which that's the problem with LaMelo Ball, by the way. He played in only 47 games this season. And look at the games, speaking of guys that never play. He played 51 games his first year. Okay, 75 his second year when he was an all-star. He was an all-star when he actually played a decent amount of games. Then 36, 22, and 47 the last 3 years. So the guy just doesn't play. Like, he's an elite talent, quite frankly. He played only 47 games this year, but 25 points per game, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. They've got three 20-point per game scorers on their team. Brandon Miller, 21 points per game, but he played only 27 games. And then Miles Bridges, 20 points per game, but he played in only 64 games. They have 3 20-point per game scorers, but cumulatively they missed like 100 games between them. So really, what does Charlotte have to do to turn around? Look, those guys are all very young. Brandon Miller, of course, this is his second season. He played 68 his first season, only 27, but he's only 22 years old. LaMelo Ball's 23, and Bridges is 26. So 3 very talented. And then even, look, they even had the guy, who did the Lakers try? Mark Williams, the center, the young, talented center, that he averaged 15 and 10 this year, but he played only 44 games, and he's only 23. So they have actually a lot of really good young talent on this team, but none of them play, like none of them. So what does Charlotte have to do to turn around? Really, just start playing ultimately. And I think they're going to be okay, believe it or not. Next thing, we've got Vacation Wealth Partners, who is just a regular every night. Again, seems like always sending us $10, $20, whatever. Very generous and a very repetitive sponsor of us, benefactor of the lounge. So many thanks to you, Vacation Wealth Partners. And Gary, what is the question or comment?
Happy Memorial Day, Skap. Working on the holiday. That's Mamba mentality, brother.
Absolutely. Vacation Wealth Partners, thank you again so much for your support, and a very happy Memorial Day to you as well. Any veterans out there that are watching and otherwise, many thanks. And, shout out to all of you out there. And the Mamba mentality, of course. I'm out here, I'm grinding, I'm trying to work. I haven't been doing many reaction videos to these games because I'm reacting to them for like 30 or 40 minutes in the midst of these 2 to 3 hour live streams. But I might do something tonight on this game because it was tight and intriguing. In addition to, I'm working on that, the video I'm teasing, the Dancing King video about a LeBron postseason update for him. So yeah, keep an eye out for a couple things coming out tomorrow, probably from me, Vacation Wealth Partner. And many thanks to you again for your continued generosity and support. We've got Master PM, another repeater in here, with no real question. Just wanted to get a comment in for us and support the channel here. Gary, go ahead and read that great super chat by Master PM.
Skap the GOAT.
Well, I'm not going to go ahead and deny that, Master PM. I won't give you any pushback on it. Far be it from me to reject the premise of such a great super chat. Again, many thanks to you for supporting me and for the generosity as well as the very kind words. I do appreciate it. And Vacation Wealth Partner is back in, actually, Gary, and I'm going to turn my computer up and slide to the little boy's room here very quickly. Okay. I'll listen to your answer, but I'm going to turn it over to you for a moment because, well, damn it, this is to you. So I figure what better time for me to slide away for a quick 30 seconds and you take the train here for me for a minute.
All right, Vacation Wealth Partners, thanks for the 5-piece. What is Big Gary's all-time top 5 ranking, and does my guy Gary have a channel? Anyone who loves Kobe and Apollo Creed needs my support. Yes, I actually do have a channel. It's Gary828, but I do a lot of commentary videos on random topics there. So I think that's why the views have gone down. Last year, I had videos getting 100,000 views. Right now, my channel is putting out videos getting 100 views. So it's dropped drastically because I think the algorithm doesn't like the way I'm changing topics. But I do have another channel called Gary828 Sports Talk that is exclusively for sports. So if anyone wants to subscribe to either or of those channels, or maybe both, you can. I do a lot of commentary and psychology type videos. And I recently put out a video on LeBron James. It's very similar to Skap's videos on LeBron James. As a matter of fact, that's why I contacted Skap in the first place, because I was like, man, you are just parroting all of the things I've been saying about LeBron ever since 2010. So he and I think precisely the same things about LeBron James. And I put out a video about him, and I think it's very good, but it doesn't even have 200 views right now. So if some guys want to go over there and check it out, I think you'll like it. I'm also working on a follow-up video right now. It should be up in a day or two about Jordan coming back and why I believe he's coming back ultimately, and how I believe the refs helped LeBron and the Heat win in 2012 against OKC. Because honestly, if the refs had not intervened, not only would Jordan have been held greater than LeBron, Kobe was held greater than LeBron. And here comes the hot take that a lot of you would not agree with, but I'm making a case in this video. Kevin Durant would have been held better than LeBron if they had won the championship in 2012 like they should have, because 23-year-old Kevin Durant would have won a championship built on an organic team after LeBron choked to Dirk in 2011 and now to OKC in 2012. And I am telling you, watch the footage in 2012. Kevin Durant was unguardable. The refs put him in foul trouble and sent him to the bench. That is when Miami went on runs to beat OKC and win those games. It was all planned by the league, and I'm going into detail about that on a video. Okay, I'm about to turn it back over to you, Skap. Let me get this real quick. And let me just say, for those who may not already know it, first I'm going to go over Skap. I know Skap's top 9. First is Jordan, 2 is Kobe, 3 is Kareem, 4 is Duncan, 5 is Hakeem Olajuwon, and then 6 through 9 is like a combination of Larry and Magic and Wilt and Russell, in which he's still developing that list, in which he's thinking he's probably going to, after my influence, I think, move Wilt up. Here's mine. He's asking for my top 5. Vacation, I actually don't have a top 5. I'll tell you what I do have. I have a top 1A and a top 1B, and that's Jordan's my 1A. Wilt is my 1B. I need to learn more about Wilt because I think he has a case to be GOAT. But from what I've seen, Jordan's my GOAT. I just said last night, I've never seen a guy glide in the air like I've seen Jordan glide in the air. And I think his big hands really put him over the top, the way he can palm and grip the ball. But I can tell you my guys after, in no particular order, because I'm not really sure on this, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Magic, Bird, and Hakeem would be somewhere between like 3 and 9. I don't really know where to rank those guys, to be honest, but that's my top 9. I'm not copying Skap. I'm in agreement with him. And I'll tell you one hot take. A healthy Kawhi Leonard would probably be my number 10. When he's at his peak shape, there's no one better. Offense and defensively, who is really a lot stronger than Kawhi Leonard? Jordan and Kobe? Kawhi may be the best guard / forward after those guys. Two-way players on offense and defense when he's healthy. He's a big reason the Spurs are so good in 2012, 2013, and 2014. So thank you for the support, not only for Skap, but also for Gary, the moderator. And now we're going to go and turn it back over to Skap and come to the next super chat comment here from Mother Nature's Son. Thank you for the 5-piece. All right, Skap, here we go. Skap, what made you switch to more face / webcam in your videos? Also, studies show smart people curse a lot. So no more slander on LOADED Scholar.
Mother's Nature, son, thank you very much for your support. Gary, thank you for that answer and for giving me a little bathroom break. I do appreciate it. As we are now nearing the 2.5-hour mark of this lounge session and about to hit the 2 a.m. mark here on the East Coast in the good old USA. So Mother Nature's son, though, thank you for coming in and for supporting the channel. To answer, well, first of all, the slander on LOADED Scholar will continue, but to answer your question about what made me switch to more face webcam and vids, quite frankly, it's just easier for me to edit the videos, plain and simple. I'm still kind of a one-man band, so to speak. I do mainly everything myself, writing, voicing, or on camera, and then the research and the editing and everything. Like, it's pretty much all me. And I hate editing. I absolutely hate it. And it's just such an unnecessary expenditure of time. I've gotten quite quick at it. But still, it still takes me longer, I think, than I would like. And the more showing myself more is a way that it saves me time on the edit. So like if there's a part of the video that it's going to be hard for me to find or source material, or it's going to take me unnecessarily long for like a 20-second span to find whatever I'm talking about, I'll just put myself on camera. I'll just show myself in that part of it. So that's basically the evolution of that. And quite frankly, at the very beginning, I think of myself as really starting this channel 2 years ago. But I have videos dating back to about 4 years back. I had no consistency in my posting schedule. The quality, the technical quality was very low. But the first like 10-ish videos, which many of them aren't even on the channel anymore, I've privatized them so they're not visible. Some of them, though, are still left. And the infancy of my channel, the beginnings, was me on camera like that. So really the vision of it has always been me on camera, because quite frankly, like I never I don't want to get too long on this answer, but I didn't want to have a YouTube channel. Like that's never been a goal or a dream or an aspiration of mine. Like I've wanted to be like three things my whole life: a professional athlete, like a movie star in Hollywood, or a professional like sports talking head, like Jim Rome, like a nationally syndicated talk show radio host, or an ESPN, Sports Center host or something. So like, when I got into doing this finally, I started my career way back when, like 100 years ago out of college, trying to get into that industry and working in it for a few years. Then I abandoned it and just was in sales and other various hodgepodge of jobs for like ever. And then when I decided 2 years ago to really give it a crack of like building a YouTube channel, it was really just to try to get some like notoriety or exposure so that I could get closer to becoming like building a brand, so to speak, in and of myself. So I think in order to do that, it was also pivotal that I become more known or like more seen, I think, and more visible. So all of those reasons combined, I thought that it was time to go ahead and get on camera more. So good question, Mother Nature's son. And thank you again for your support. We've got Cusmo Jimbo in, big Knicks fan. So let's see, Cusmo's here though on the off night. It's the West Coast or the Western Conference game. So thank you, Cusmo, for still being in the lounge and supporting us. What's the question here from Cusmo?
Cusmo, big game tomorrow night. And I have mentioned this before. Why do you think LeBron never entered the dunk contest? To be fair, the judges would have awarded him the trophy based on his name alone, in my opinion. I disagree. I don't think they would have, and that's why he didn't enter, because if they were going to do that, he would have entered. He knows he couldn't. There's no way he wins a dunk contest. He does not have his powerful in-game dunker, but not a showcase dunker.
But I do agree though with Cusmo. I do, because in high school, he was in the slam dunk competition with McDonald's High School All-American game, and he wasn't the best dunker in that game. Like he got out dunked, but like he literally was just throwing it off the backboard and catching it and like won the dunk contest because they just wanted him to get it. And then look at the Rookie of the Year. We've talked about it multiple times on this show that he didn't really deserve that award, but the voters just gave it to him. Now, look, the one reason why maybe he wouldn't have been given it in the dunk contest is because former great players are the judges.
Exactly.
So like former great players don't like to anoint these young, flashy guys without earning it. So like maybe you have a point there that he wouldn't have. So, and to your point, obviously, Cuse Mode, whether you think that LeBron would have been given the award or not, the point remains. There's one reason and one reason only LeBron has never done it, because he's afraid he wouldn't. Because of his fear and uncertainty that the voters or the judges would hand him an undeserving trophy. That's the only reason, because he thinks it would tarnish his legacy or reputation to some degree. He hasn't had the cojones or the courage to get into it and to compete like pretty much every other high-flying all-time great player has done at some point in their career in competing in that. He just doesn't have the stones to do it, though.
Absolutely.
And Cusmo Jimbo is back in, second super chat back-to-back. And then I see Xavier's in a couple times after that. But what is the follow-up here from Cusmo?
Cusmo, the only way this does happen is if it is during or after the apocalypse and there's no other teams left. He says the entire world needs to witness the Charlotte Hornets play the New Orleans Pelicans for the NBA title before the apocalypse ensues. It'll take the apocalypse to get those two teams in the finals.
Yeah, firstly, because of how bad these franchises are, how poorly run they are, how badly constructed the teams are. Other than the Charlotte Hornets do have a lot of young talent, like I just outlined. They're just not playing in enough games. But the NBA would do anything to stop this. Like they wouldn't even care that it was looked totally rigged. They would have like people, like there would be, no defenders within like 2 feet of guys, and they would be getting free throws every time down on the other teams to try to stop this from happening. The NBA would not let that be the NBA finals. There's no way. That would be that the ratings would be too appalling on that front. Like, I just don't believe that Adam Silver would allow that. So that's a good wish, Cusmo Jimbo, but I wouldn't hold my breath for that one. As I said, Xavier is in. Xavier, what is going on here? And I do see, actually, wait, let's skip ahead real fast to Stephon.
So I was wrong with Stephen. They were wrong with Stefan. It's Stephon. I thought he told me Stephen.
This is good. Stephon, thank you. Hopefully you're still on. This was sent 6 minutes ago, so hopefully you're still on. Stephon, thank you very much for putting it like that. That will make me remember. Stephon, like Stephon Marbury. Okay. But go ahead and read it real quick. Stephon, by the way, Stephon Marbury, real fast, had this shoe line when I was young. It was called the Starburys, and they were ridiculous. They were like $15 way back in the day. I had like 30 Stephon, some Starburys. Like, I had one for like every like outfit, like every basketball outfit I had. Like, I had a matching pair of Starburys. So and Stephon Marbury is a big Kobe guy. So like, I will certainly now, Stephon, moving forward, not mess your name up again because you put it like that. So, but Gary, go ahead and tell us what Stephon has other than that.
Why is there not a major Kobe documentary? Will there be one? Redeem Team doesn't seem enough for a special athlete. Skap, there you go. That's something for you to take. You could do. And I don't know if you've watched my channel much. I have made 2-hour videos that are a documentary on a subject. I can help you piece this together. We can make a 2-hour documentary on Kobe Bryant.
So I would love to undertake the task of doing a long think tank introspective piece about the life and the times of Kobe Bean Bryant. One of the great human beings that's ever walked the earth, in my estimation. And I do, though, think, while it's not like a major, like it hasn't become like a breaking, like a Last Dance type docuseries, I believe there was recently like a 3 or 4 part docuseries about Kobe put out by somebody. I don't know what streaming service has it. I have not seen it yet. I don't get a lot of free time during the NBA playoffs. So I'm behind on everything, shows, movies, etc. But I did see there is this Kobe docuseries. I think it's 3 or 4 pieces long. It's not on Netflix. I know that. It's on some other thing, maybe Prime or something. I don't know. But I do think there is something out there, but I don't know the quality of it. I won't speak or attest to that. Obviously, The Last Dance was amazing, groundbreaking work, and I really did actually like. That Redeem Team piece was quite good too. But yeah, that was only one part, and it was like barely 2 hours. So
I've got some information on it.
Okay, go ahead.
A new docuseries, Kobe, The Making of a Legend, premiered on CNN on January 25th, 2025. The 3-part series explores the life and career of Kobe Bryant, focusing on the unseen forces that propelled his rise in the personal transformations he faced. It chronicles his journey from childhood in Italy to NBA superstardom and his post-NBA aspirations. Just to Watch states that you can watch Kobe, The Making of a Legend, streaming on Max or purchase it as a download on various platforms.
Thank you, Gary. And you know what? I did have in the back of my mind CNN. I did not say that. I said when I was talking a minute ago, but I did have CNN in the back of my mind, and apparently it's on Max. So HBO Max was. So I do have access to that. But Gary, I'm very reluctant and very hesitant, knowing that CNN is the one that produced this. I'm very reluctant to endorse this. I'm not sure of the quality. I'm sure they're probably going to harp on some off-court issues that Kobe had in his younger stages. I bet that's going to dominate at least one full piece of this 3-part puzzle. So maybe Skap Attack will have to do my own docuseries on Kobe.
Yeah, and you can take your time with it. You don't need to rush it. It could take you 6 months to a year. And it'll be hopefully a video that people will continue to go back to, and not just be a video that's hot for 48 hours, but something that an evergreen video that people continually go to.
Right. Exactly right. So, okay, now let's get to, we have two in here from Xavier DeGod, of course, likes to pepper us with multiple super chats every night, it seems like. So thank you so much, Xavier. What is this one? And then we have one more as well from Xavier, but go ahead and read this one, Gary.
LeBron will get his jersey retired by the Lakers because he's one of the greatest players to play for the Lakers, but not one of the greatest Lakers.
Right. And I do agree with this. Like LeBron, no matter how badly you dislike him or what you might think of him, he's at worst one of the 20 best players ever. I would say probably at worst one of the 13 best players ever. And most people consensus top 10. I think it's outrageous to say he's top 5 or Mount Rushmore or GOAT. I think he's not close to the top 4 or the top 1, in my opinion. But he is one of the handful of great players. So, like, he certainly is one of the great players to play for the Lakers. But the Lakers have a lot of great players to play for them. Like, if you look at the top 20 players all time, like, half of them probably play for the Lakers. And I don't think LeBron's on-court resume with the Lakers would indicate that he's worthy or that it would be the fitting of a jersey retirement. But nonetheless, look, we know Jeannie Buss is just falling on the knees for LeBron. She's just genuflecting kissing the ring, smooching the boots. So obviously LeBron will absolutely get a jersey. I'm not rejecting the premise that he will. I'm just saying I don't think he should. And Gary, what's the next one from Xavier?
Okay, this is something I've been very strong opinionated about. What did you guys think of the 2019 Warriors of Curry, Clay, KD, Draymond, Cousins, and Iguodala? And would they have beat the Raptors if Clay doesn't go down? Absolutely. They did not even need KD to beat the Raptors. I kept telling everybody the Raptors had momentum, but I kept telling them Clay is about to rise up and turn into the old Splash Brothers. They're going to come back and win this series. And then, boom, Clay goes down, and the Raptors just dominate them from that point forward. If Clay had stayed healthy, they would have won that series. I have no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is, so Clay actually played in game. He played in game 5 still. So he played actually 42 minutes. He played 42 minutes in game 5 and scored 26 points on 9 of 21. And actually, wait, am I reading? So Kevin Durant actually he ruptured his Achilles in that game. Also, he played 12. He played 12 minutes. It was
tender, and then he ruptured it. Like he had been out because it had been tender and hurting him, and they thought he could play, and then he played, and after like 5 minutes, it ruptured, and then it messed his whole career up. And Clay was heating up right before he got injured. So that doesn't quite tell the tale on that stat line. Clay was heating up right before he got injured.
And then Gary, it looks like Clay played. Am I reading? Yeah, this is 2019. Clay played almost like not all, but he played 31 minutes in the elimination game in game 6. So like he played and he scored 31 points in that game. In just the 31 minutes. So I mean, I honestly look, I've seen every series. I've seen every playoff series basically for like 30 years.
This says he didn't play in game 6. In 2019 against Toronto, Klay Thompson did not play in game 6 due to a season-ending ACL injury. He sustained an injury in the game, which was also a season-ending injury for Kevin Durant. As a result, the Warriors lost to the Raptors. Yeah, I don't think he played in that final game. I think the game before that he was heating up, and then that's what I thought too, Gary. Which is why I'm saying this does not fit my memory, and I typically have a very good memory. I thought Durant got hurt in game 4 and Clay got hurt in game 5 is the way I remember it. But I'm looking at the game right now. It's game 6, June 13th,
2019, Toronto beat Golden State 114-110. The game was in Golden State, and Klay Thompson played in 32 minutes, was 8 of 12 from the field, 4 of 6 from the three-point line, and scored 30 points. I'm looking at it right now on Basketball Reference.
Now I see something else that does say Klay Thompson suffered a torn ACL during Game 6 of the 2019 Finals. The injury occurred on June 13th, 2019. Thompson was fouled on a play while going up for a dunk and landed awkwardly. Yeah, I remember that specifically. Sorry,
yeah, just in those games, so essentially Golden State, Toronto actually won game 1 in this series. Which look, Kevin Durant was already he was ailing already. Like Kevin Durant didn't play in game 1 because he had some kind of a calf strain thing going on, which people the team was concerned. So he really wasn't playing at the beginning. Golden State came back and won the second game in that series. Again, no Durant. And then in game 3, Toronto won that game again to go up 2-1 and no Durant. So then being down 2-1 then, and feeling the pressure in that, I would think that probably the pressure started to build for KD to return. But again, they held him in the following game. So, this was a series where Toronto was actually up 3-1 in without Durant. So it's hard to say that they would have won had Durant not played a single game and Klay Thompson didn't get hurt, because Klay Thompson played those first 4 games. Durant didn't, and it was 3-1 Toronto. But then KD, with the 3-1 facing elimination, down 3-1, KD did come back in that other game, and he was dominating. He played the first quarter. He was 11 points, 3 of 5. They were up 34-28. The Warriors were, and then he popped the Achilles. But then, Klay played a great game that game, and they won. Even with KD going out, they won, but it was tight, 106-105. Then the next game, I think probably they were going to win had Klay not got hurt, because he was on fire in that game 6. And he ended up getting hurt late in that game, and they ended up losing 114-110 to ultimately lose the series. So it would have been a close call had just Durant been hurt and Klay had not gotten hurt. It would have been close. If it would have been 7 either way. I think if KD and Klay though were healthy, they would have won in 4 or 5. Like they would have, maybe 5. Maybe Toronto would have got 1. But to answer your question there, Xavier, I don't know. It would have been a tight call either way. I think ultimately, look, it was a 3-1 deficit, Gary. I think I'm of the opinion probably Kawhi would have found a way. To have to beat him 3 straight times, even with a healthy Klay, but no KD.
Klay was heating up. If you remember, Klay was the one that brought them back against OKC in the 2016 Western Conference Finals, and he looked like he was turning back into that Klay. Yeah. I think the Warriors were not I know it sounds funny. I just don't think they were taking Toronto as seriously as they should have and then Klay started heating up. They started getting focused, grinding down, and then all of a sudden momentum shift, and then Klay got hurt, and then the series was essentially over. I just think Klay would have brought them back because Klay was turning back into his true self, whereas he was underperforming before that. Gotcha. That's why I said momentum shifted.
It's tight. It would have, like I said, it would have been 7 either way. Whereas I think it would have been a 5 Golden State win had they had their full complement. I also just want to say that shout out to my dad who has text messaged me. So my dad is in the lounge. He's watching, and he texted me that he has. I live in Florida, but my home is in Pittsburgh. That's where I was born and raised, and my parents still live in Pittsburgh. The house that I was born and raised in, they've been there for nearly 50 years now in that house. And I go back there frequently, multiple weeks. I spend probably ultimately well over a month a year, probably near 2 months a year there visiting them. He's got the CNN Kobe doc on their DVR waiting for me. He just wanted to let me know. So he's chimed in on that one. Okay. Next though, and we've got Stephon Marbury, aka Stefan Stankovic, is back in. Stankovic is back in. Stefan, welcome back in. And what's the question here?
Would Kobe LeBron be the most dominant duo ever?
Well, Stefan, I just vomited in my mouth just even thinking about the prospect of the Black Mamba uniting forces with LeBron. It would never have happened. Kobe would never have joined forces with LeBron. I don't care. You can find me any kind of quote that he made at the end of his career in the last year he played or whatever after he retired saying like, oh, it would have been cool to play with LeBron. Or what. No, there's no way the Black Mamba, the Kobe Bryant, in at any stage of his career would have ever seriously considered playing with that ring hunting mercenary. There's no way those two would have played together. With that said, though, if they would have hypothetically played, I don't think it would have. I mean, they both look. If LeBron wants to play defense, he's elite defensively. So, and Kobe, we know, is elite defensively. So the two of them together on the perimeter would have been scary. And then two very good scorers. Kobe, one of the greatest ever. LeBron, numbers look good because, he gets a lot of fast breaks. He gets a lot of advantages with the super teams he has around him. He shoots a lot of free throws, whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's played for 100 years, so his numbers look good. But I think Kobe was not a great off the ball player. Like Kobe wasn't like a spot up shooter. He's a great shooter, but he's not necessarily like a catch and shoot kind of a guy. And LeBron is abysmal off of the ball. So I don't think really the two of them needed to possess the ball and have a high, put forth a high usage percentage. I don't think either one of them necessarily would have played well off of each other. So I don't think that would have been a very good duo. I think if you're looking at guys from that era, I think KD and Kobe, even though you lose a little bit defensively from KD to LeBron, I think KD and Kobe would have been like a more intriguing tandem to me than LeBron, just because KD's so skilled. Moderator Gary's giving me the thumbs up of approval on that. They're both just so skilled, and I think they would have been I think they would have found a way to be more of a complete tandem than LeBron. But Gary, you gave me the thumbs up of approval. Anything
Kobe and KD would beat LeBron and Dwayne Wade 2-on-2. For sure.
Okay, next we've got Bougie Formida or Formida. Bougie 4 is back in. Another repeat sponsor. Thank you, Bougie, for joining. And what's the question here from Bougie, Gary?
Who's better subjectively, Kobe or Shaq? I say Kobe.
Well, Bougie, I have Shaq around 13th all time on my list, and I've got Kobe at 2. So you know who I think is better. I think Kobe's all-time, I think his total career is better. I even think his prime's better. I think people would say Shaq's the most dominant player ever or whatever. First of all, Wilt Chamberlain's the most dominant player ever. Secondly, I think at any stage of the careers, I would say that Kobe was a superior player to Shaq, prime for prime, like top 5 years, top 10 years for the whole, look at the entire career. Kobe won more rings than Shaq, and he played with significantly less supporting cast. Shaq played with Penny Hardaway early in his career. Penny was first team All-NBA twice in a row when Shaq was playing with him. He then played with Kobe, who was first team All-NBA or second team All-NBA and All-NBA defense for 6 of the 8 years they were playing together. He then went on to play with an ascending Dwayne Wade, who was a top 3 player in the NBA, basically, when they won that one championship. Shaq then went on to play with MVP LeBron in Cleveland. Shaq played with Steve Nash, MVP Steve Nash in the Suns. Shaq played with the big 3 Boston Celtics. Obviously, he wasn't in his prime for those last couple stops, but still, the amount of support that Shaq has played with throughout his career to win 4, to go to 6 championships and win 4. Kobe basically, other than Shaq, had nothing. Like I said, he had Derek Fisher as his next best player with Shaq, and then after Shaq left, garbage surrounded Kobe until he got Pau Gasol, and then he had just Pau Gasol was his one big player. And still, despite all of that and terrible teams before Gasol got there and terrible teams after, Kobe still went to 7 and won 5. there's no case you can make for me that Shaq is better or above Kobe in any way, shape, or form. So, Bougie, to answer your question, easily, Kobe being Bryant, easily. Gary, we next have Vacation Wealth Partners, who has generously come back in yet again with another generous donation here for us. Vacation Wealth Partners, thank you very much for yet another very generous donation to the Skap Lounge. Gary, what does he have this time for us tonight?
Kevin Durant, to me, is the Barry Bonds of NBA. He got forced into super teams like Barry, got forced into steroids. Everyone's doing it. Kevin Durant doesn't look like he's on steroids to me.
I think he's talking, though, about the super team. Like, he's likening super team building to steroids, essentially, to cheating tactics. And I'm a big Barry Bonds fan, by the way.
And that's what I told you, is that he had to do that to overcome LeBron's team stacking the super teams and the referees. That's why he was forced to join Golden State, because that was the only place he could go where they could actually defeat LeBron.
Right.
They had to do that.
Right. And Gary has made this point several times. And this is why, look, I still crush Durant and Curry in a vacuum, because it is such a shady, gutless move, I think, by both of them. But the reason I don't include them necessarily, or I should say I count LeBron as being worse, in my opinion, is because LeBron started it. Like, had LeBron not teamed up with Dwayne Wade, no way in hell would Kevin Durant and Steph Curry ever have dreamed of doing what they did, ever. LeBron made it fashionable and made it okay to do it when he did with Dwayne Wade. Then he did it again. Like, he left Dwayne Wade and was like, oh, well, I'm gonna team up with this ascending all-star in Kyrie and like a top 10 player in Kevin Love, which he was. Kevin Love was a top 10 player the year before that team up occurred. And then basically that team was so unbeatable, that Cleveland Cavaliers team, yes, was a super team, that they just outright outplayed the 73 win Golden State Warriors. And then Kevin Durant was like, and Steph Curry were like, well, whatever. Like, one super team begets another super team. We'll just go ahead and do it too. So I get your point, Gary, and I get your point, Vacation Wealth Partners.
But if they hadn't done that, let me ask you this. If they had not done that, how many championships would LeBron have?
Like 6, probably 6, 7.
And
maybe.
then if that were to happen, Kobe Bryant would have no leg to stand on to say he's greater than LeBron.
I mean, you could say nobody would have a leg to stand on if you throw all of these longevity stats with 7 rings behind it. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm getting at, that's why I think you should actually, ironically, appreciate KD and Steph, because they salvaged a lot.
Well, Gary, even if I don't necessarily like the move on the surface, and I've ripped both of them on the surface for the move, I do love the irony of it. And I've always loved the irony of the fact that a guy created super teams in LeBron because he couldn't manage to live up to other all-time great expectations that won like legitimate real championships, multiples. So he couldn't live up to that. So he had to break the system and cheat, essentially. But then in him creating super teams, he gave birth to a better super team, which then stopped him from getting to that upper tier of all of those all-time greats ultimately. So I've always respected and enjoyed the irony of it. There's no doubt about it.
But you seem to actually like hate Durant and Curry, and I just don't think that's fair. Basically because of that. I don't think that's fair. I love those guys. I appreciate those guys. Because I love Kobe is why I love those guys. Because and people say, oh, that was a punk move. No, it wasn't. That took a lot of courage, because they knew they were going to be the new public pariahs of the NBA, and they did it anyways. And I appreciate the audacity they had to one up LeBron. It was beautiful.
I'll say this, while I'll acquiesce to your point to some degree, the reason I give pushback on, like, to me though, okay, yes, I like that they did it in the way it relates to LeBron. But when I look at them now, comparing them though to others, like, to me, the Kevin Durant, those 2 rings, like, those are the only 2 rings he got. So like, to me, like, his career suffers because, like, I don't count those 2 rings really. Like, I don't count all 4 of LeBron's.
Okay,
so like, same with Steph, like, he's really only got 2 rings in my opinion.
I promise you this. I want, in a couple days, I want you to check out this video. I am going over concrete proof of bad call after bad call after bad call. That is why they lost in 2012. They were the superior team. They were supposed to win. The NBA panicked because Durant was about to surpass LeBron at the age of 23. Prime LeBron, age 27, age 26, chokes the dirt. Age 27, should have choked to OKC. Kevin Durant was about to be held being better than LeBron. Their whole plan, they had been grooming LeBron since he was in middle school, planning to try to make him the GOAT and surpass Jordan, Wilt, and Kareem while he was in middle school and high school. That's why they put him on the cover of Sports Illustrated as the chosen one. This was an elaborate plan, and OKC threw a gigantic monkey wrench in there. That's why they had the refs intervene. Miami was not better than OKC. If Durant had won in 2012, Harden would have stayed. They would have won multiple championships. LeBron would have dropped down in the background in the tapestry of the league while Durant would be on the forefront. And I guarantee you right now, Durant will be held as a top 10 player of all time. The league manipulated the history. I am telling you, Durant was unguardable in 2012. The only way Miami went on a run was when Durant was on the bench. I watched it. The OKC were up by 9. He gets his 4th foul. He goes to the bench. A few minutes later, Miami goes on a run. LeBron hits a 3 to finally put Miami up as Kevin Durant's on the bench. And then the camera zooms in on LeBron, and he's smirking. Literally. He's smirking because he knows what's going on, because he can only play when things are stacked against his opponents. He can't win on a level, fair playing field. Durant was unguardable, and I'm going to prove that on this next video. I'm showing footage. I've been looking at the clips. Kevin Durant, that was a phantom foul against Dwayne Wade. His 4th foul. He had scored like 8 straight points in the 3rd quarter to put OKC up by 9. All of a sudden, they called this phantom foul against Dwayne Wade, and Durant was forced to the bench. Miami goes on a run. A 16-7 run with Durant on the bench. I'm telling you, the NBA manipulated this. KD better than LeBron.
Couple things here, Gary. Look, the 2012 finals are what they are, and we could say organically acquired or whatever, but that was, again, that is like the Oklahoma City Thunder were like the Boston Celtics in the 80s, or they were that loaded. Like, they may have been organically built because all 3 of Harden, Westbrook, and Durant were all drafted, but those are 3 top 75 players, 3 future league MVPs on one team. So like you talk about like it's all Kevin Durant. Like you hate Russell Westbrook. Like you just do not think highly of Russell Westbrook. You hate him this year. You buried him for the whole season basically in the playoffs, and you know you talk about how he's not a winner, which is fine. But he was. Look, I agree with you. In the 2012 finals, KD outplayed LeBron. But guess what? You're a big Wade guy. Russell Westbrook was better than Dwayne Wade. They had the 2 best players in that series. The problem in that series, to me, I'm never going to complain about the officiating. I know I've seen the late fouls. They should have been up 2-0. And I agree that changes the whole complexity and dynamic of it. But to me, the guy that lost that series to them was James Harden. He was poopy pants Harden. He was little game James from an early stage. There's all these stories about how he was at strip clubs till 3 a.m. In Miami when they were in Miami, and it like totally affected his series. James Harden stunk in that series. James Harden was the 6th man of the year that year in the NBA. And he was a budding superstar. He would go to Houston, I think, the next year and break out and become a superstar. He averaged 12 points per game on 37% shooting in that series, in that final series against the Heat. And a lot of those games were very winnable. Oklahoma City won the first one by 11. They lost the second one by 4. They were right in that game. They then lost the third game by 6. Again, right in that game. And then, Gary, again, I think you're not fair to Russell Westbrook sometimes.
I liked him in 2012.
Hang
it was
on.
Later, I started
Russell Westbrook in the game where their life was really on the line in that series. I even though I remember the context of series and games,
43 points in game 4. Yes.
Hold on. I remember certain games even more explicitly than others. And the Russell Westbrook game 4 game was one of the games that I remember, one of like the 20 most memorable games, even though they lost, was one of like the 20 most memorable games, because I remember sitting there and watching a guy who Russell Westbrook was, however old he was. Let me see exactly how old he was in that series. He was 22. It was his age 23. It was his age 23 season. And that was the game, Gary, where their back was, they had won game 1. They were in 2 very close winnable games in games 2 and 3, lost them both to go down 2-1. And if they went down 3-1, the series was over. So that game 4 was like essentially the elimination game, the must-win game. And in that game, I remember watching and saying like, yo, Russell Westbrook is unstoppable. Like Russell Westbrook is the best player on the floor, not Kevin Durant. And Durant was good, 28 points on 9 of 19 in 46 minutes, no doubt about it. Russell Westbrook in that game for 45 minutes, 20 of 32 from the field, 20 made field goals, 43 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. And Gary, that was at the same time frame where we talked about this last night, where LeBron unequivocally was great defensively and shut down league MVP Derrick Rose. It might have even been, I think it might have been that season where like they played the number 1 seed Bulls, MVP Derrick Rose in the Eastern Conference Finals that year, I think. And Derrick Rose, they won game 1 like by 20, and then LeBron was like, nah, I'm shutting this down. Like, I'm taking Derrick Rose and ending the series, and he did. So then watching this finals and watching game 4 where Russ was unstoppable, LeBron did the same thing in that game 4 against Russ and was like, no, I'm taking Russ. It's over. And Russ couldn't be stopped. LeBron couldn't stop Russell Westbrook. So, like, I get what you're saying to some degree about Kevin Durant, but like,
I'm not. Hold on. Time out. First of all, I'm talking in spurts right now. I didn't say anything about Westbrook in 2012. He was good in 2012. He got worse later. This is my point. Into the chat, go to my channel, Gary828 Sports Talk, and you will see a video I put up from 13 years ago, the day before the finals started. I put up a 3-minute video talking about OKC and how they are going to be the next big dynasty. I praised Russell Westbrook on there. I was a big fan of Westbrook and Harden and Ibaka in 2012. So that's not the point. The problem I have with Westbrook now is, come on, you've got to control your velocity. When you're in front of the goal, can you think of a nice finger roll? You don't clank it up when you're right by the goal. When your teammate's in front of you, you don't need great velocity to pass it to him. That's the problem with Westbrook. That's why he lost the game for the Nuggets this year when Jokic had 63 points and he made 2 boneheaded plays at the end. That's why their comeback against the Clippers, game 6. The Nuggets were about to win that game. Westbrook made mistakes. That is the problem I have with Westbrook. Now he makes too many stupid mistakes, boneheaded plays.
He also won games, though, for them. He also won a game in the Clippers series for them.
No, he didn't.
He did. He was great down the stretch defensively for them. He turned them over. He turned James Harden over late one game to seal the game. Where it was a 1-possession game, he turned them over, and he made a number of big shots down the stretch. He had like 20-plus points and was big defensively. Like,
you're always talking about guys who poop their pants, but you defend Russell Westbrook. That is so ironic. He's the biggest pants pooper.
Now wait, Gary, hang on.
He's a bigger pants pooper than Chris Paul.
Hang on.
Been injured.
You only let me get to half of my point in pushback of your Kevin Durant point. We'll get to the pooping of the pants because you talk about how the officials took it away from them in 2012. The officials didn't take anything away from them in 2016. That would be when they were playing the 73-win Golden State Warriors.
Those Warriors were way better than the Heat.
And now wait a second here, Gary.
And they didn't have Harden either. I agree.
Gary,
the Warriors should have won.
No, Gary. let me read you these scores. The Thunder won game 1 that year, 108-102. Fine. Okay. And then the Warriors blew out the Thunder in game 2 after the Thunder took game 1 because, well, it was a must win for the 73-win Warriors to not go down 0-2 at home. So they blew the Thunder off the floor in game 2. But then look at games 3 and 4. The Thunder beat the 73-win Warriors 133-105.
The Timberwolves just beat the
Hold on, though, Gary. Hold on, Gary. I'm not done.
No, hold on. I am stumping you right now.
Gary, let me finish.
The Wolves
beat that's one game, 42. Gary. Gary, that's one game.
What you just said is one game.
No, it's not. Because if you let me finish my point, Gary, I'll get to the fact that it's not one game because the next game, they beat them 118-94. They beat them by 30 in one game, then by like 25 in the next game to go up 3-1 on the 73-win Warriors. They weren't just
Did they win 4?
They were obliterating them.
3 or 4 get you the win.
Gary, I'm going to mute you if I have to because I don't want to yell. There's people sleeping in the house, so I'm going to bring my volume down. And because I'm house sitting and there are young children, so I'll mute you. I don't want to talk over you. They won by 30 points and 25 points in successive games to take a 3-1 series lead against a 73-win team. Then game 5 was tight. The Warriors only won by 9, and you would expect them to win by 9 at home as a 73-win team down 3-1. The series went back in game 6 to Oklahoma City, Gary. And in that game, in game 6, which was a closeout game, they were up by 9 points at the end of the third quarter was the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is the game that's the legacy game for Kevin Durant. You're talking about Kevin Durant was going to take over, surpass LeBron. That was it. That was the game. And guess what? What did he do in the fourth quarter when they were up? They were up 9 at the end of the third quarter. What happened? They got blistered 33-18 in the fourth. And in that fourth quarter, I'm not saying Russ was good. He wasn't. 2 of 7, 8 points. Kevin Durant, though, 1 of 7, 4 points in choking away, getting hit 33-18 in the fourth and choking away that 3-1 lead. Then he went and joined Golden State in the offseason. Like, say what you want about that one series. I get it. But, like, Kevin Durant did other things throughout the course of his career that derailed him. It was beyond just the officiating in 2012. Just saying. Okay, I guess Gary is not going to. You can retort now if you want. I got my whole thing out, so now you're free to answer now.
2012 and 2016 cannot be compared. For one, OKC didn't have James Harden. I thought that was so dumb when they traded him for Kevin Martin, and that really essentially ended their potential dynasty run because he gave them depth. I do agree with you. He should have been more focused in the 2012 finals, but even in spite of that, OKC still would have won had the refs not taken away. So I'm not blaming Harden for that. And what I'm saying is the 2016 Warriors were better than that OKC team. Klay Thompson went crazy. Klay Thompson's very underrated. I love Klay Thompson like I love KD. I think he's very underrated. He's in the shadow of Steph. I think he's a big reason they built that short dynasty in Golden State, and the better team won. Sure, the OKC got some big lopsided wins. So what? I don't think the Warriors were focused. As you saw, when they got focused, they rattled off 3 straight wins because they were actually the superior team, which is why they won 73 games that year.
But that wasn't a superior team time in the NBA. That was a top heavy team, like dominates the NBA in that time. And to me, Russell Westbrook at that point and Kevin Durant were the 2 best players in the series, but they didn't play like it in game 6 in the fourth quarter. They were up 9. All they had to do was those 2 guys just had to be just one of the 2 guys, but they combined to be 3 of 14 in that fourth quarter. Like had they they would have destroyed the Heat, I think, the Cavs. They would have destroyed the Cavs in the NBA Finals that year. Like, I mean, yes, they did not have James Harden, but that was a good team. Like Serge Ibaka is still a very credible third best player, and they had Steven Adams on that team. Like that was a good team. I mean, I don't know. I still think that is one. That whole Oklahoma City team to me is really the one that got away. I think, yes, I agree with you ultimately that moving James Harden was premature and stupid by them. And I disagree with that move. And they really could have built something, I think, sustainable and dynastic had they kept all three of those guys together. But still, though, they laid championships on the floor in Oklahoma City. It's crazy that even just the pairing of Russ and Durant, because that team was really good, that they never won anything. Crazy, but
I don't think Steven Adams was on that 2016 team, was he? Hang on. Okay, yeah, okay, he was. Okay, he came there in 14. I thought he was there when. Okay, I don't remember him. But some people in the chat are saying that it's unprofessional for me to debate with you. But what a lot of people don't realize is that was our original plan, was to have debates. But you and I agree on so much that I said we're not even going to put up a good debate. I have told Skap. I told Skap when I contacted him, I said, listen, you and I can debate and we can blow the roof off the house when we get into a fiery debate. But then we couldn't find a topic that we disagreed on. So I said, why don't you do the live streams and I'll be your moderator and we don't have to worry about a debate. But if a topic comes up we disagree on, then we can have a debate, which is what we're doing now.
Right. So, and I don't mind. I would let Gary know offline if I didn't want him to mix it up with me or push back with me at time to time whenever he saw fit. So I don't mind it at all. I just don't like to get overly. I don't mind it if I'm at home because I don't mind. But we have a couple. I don't know, for those of you who don't know, I'm in a different setting here. We have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old in this. We're house sitting and house / babysitting for the next like week or so. So like I don't want to wake the kids up. So I don't want to get like overly loud or heated. But I definitely don't mind Gary speaking his mind and giving me pushback on here.
One thing we do disagree is Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. That's one thing we disagree. But it's also the main thing is we just can't stand what the league has done with LeBron James. And we both love Kobe Bryant. And I was fighting people vehemently. In 2002, 2003, I remember I was fighting with people about Kobe Bryant because they were talking about how Shaq was the real leader of that team. And I was saying, no, it's Kobe. And I said, Kobe has potential to surpass Jordan as the best player ever. And people are laughing and mocking. And it turns out, yeah, Jordan is a little better. But at that time, Kobe did have potential to possibly be even better. So it's one of those arguments. Stick a pin in it. We'll witness history. We'll see what happens down the road. But I was a huge Kobe fan, and I could not stand LeBron. I liked LeBron until 2009 when he lost to the Magic and then refused to shake hands with Dwight Howard. He was a total turnoff for me after that point. So that's really the foundation of Skap and I's working relationship, is our love for Kobe and our disdain for LeBron and the direction the league has taken. And we want to protect the legacy of Kobe and LeBron. And the only thing we disagree is I actually want to protect the legacy of Kevin Durant because I feel like he was robbed. He wasn't given the same chance that LeBron.
I will say this, Gary. I think it's unfair to criticize Durant and praise LeBron. So people that are like trying to take away points for Durant and the 2 rings that he got, like, okay, but then you have LeBron as your GOAT, or you think LeBron's number 2. Like, he has 4 of those rings. So like, whatever. Like, he just was more like, he got, better timing. Like, because look, Durant also ultimately, like, I think he's built a couple super teams, but like, he also had bad timing. Like the Giannis ring and whatever it was, I think 2022 maybe, or 2021 or 2022. Like, look, I think that went 7 between Milwaukee and Brooklyn. And that was with Harden and Irving both got hurt. Like, I think Harden limped through the last part of the series, but like Irving didn't play. Like, if that Brooklyn team had Kevin Durant, Harden, and Irving, they easily would have won a championship there. So, I think Durant has had bad timing and bad luck. And look, Durant would have had three-peated if he didn't blow his Achilles too. So like that would have been 3. Then like he would have won the one in Brooklyn had those other 2 guys not gotten hurt. And then, like you could throw in one of like the one you're talking about in 2012. Now all of a sudden you're right. Durant's got 5 rings all of a sudden, like if that's the case. So like he's looked that much different.
And LeBron has less.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Because he beats him. Right. Yeah. He would have beaten LeBron in like 2 of those at least. So right. So no, I mean, you're not wrong. I just ultimately just like to push back against you about the whole, just because I hate super teams, even though they did, I do agree with you that it's funny and that it helped out with the LeBron narratives that what Kevin Durant did ultimately was good.
Yeah. Someone said I should come on the camera, but I'm moderating. But if we'll have a debate one day on here and I can come on camera, we'll have like a more formal debate. Maybe it'll be this issue, but we're pushing 3.5 hours right now. We need to get through the super chats, and I'm on moderator duty right now. But yeah, we'll have like a nice little one-on-one debate, and I'll school Skap and let everybody know that I am the GOAT debater. Someone said that we should replace Skip and Shannon on FS1. That's what I'm saying. If we find topics to disagree about, I think that the debates we have are entertaining. So
sure.
We don't have enough. If I was like a huge LeBron fan, then you and I could go. That was why Skip and Shannon were so good, because they disagreed on everything, but you and I agree on way too much. Anyways, let me go ahead and get to the next super chat.
Yeah, I just want to shout out Stefan now that I know specifically how to pronounce his name. What's up, Stefan? Thanks again. Welcome back in yet again tonight. Gary, go ahead and read what Stefan has for us this time.
Who were you rooting for in USA versus Serbia last summer? Fun fact, there was a chance Luka could have played for Serbia. That would have been game-changing. I was going for Serbia.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a card-carrying American. I think that when they lost to Puerto Rico, they had those couple years, the LeBron's years, when they got, they lost multiple games in multiple international tournaments. It was like one of the most humiliating moments of my life. But this summer, unequivocally, like, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. Like, I was rooting for Serbia, like 100%. I'm never going to root for a LeBron-based team. And especially like Serbia, like the ultimate underdogs. Again, I think they had 3 total NBA players on that roster. Bojan Bogdanovic, who was with Atlanta this year and then got traded at the deadline to the Clippers. He was the best player on that team other than Nikola Jokic. So like a bench player in the NBA was the next best player than Nikola Jokic. And Serbia dominated USA for like 38 minutes. Controlled the game for like 38 minutes. So I thought it was just so sad. There was a late BS foul. There was like international rules. Like there was a moving screen and Kevin Durant hit a 3 on a moving screen. The 3 counted. They got 2 free throws because it was a foul away from the ball. So there was 2, and then they got possession of the ball. So like they made the free throw, got the 3, and then made another basket. It was like a 7-point play. There was like 3 minutes to go. It went from Serbia up 8 to up 1, like in a flash of an eye. So like that was their undoing ultimately. If it wasn't for that, the Serbia would have won that game. Stephon, I was rooting for Serbia. And yes, if Luka had played with Serbia in that game, then 100% Serbia, I think, would have won the game. I don't think that's much of a hot take at all. But thank you. We've got Samson, the current is in, a regular. Samson, welcome, and thank you so much for your continued support. What's up from Samson, Gary?
Samson brings up an interesting point, man. If Shaq stayed in rookie shape, maybe GOAT. Shaq was freaking invincible in 2000. When he was focused and working out, that's the only year I remember that Shaq really focused on working out. He even shot, I want to say 67% free throws. He's working on his free throws. If he was focused like Kobe, who could he have been?
Yeah, and I won't spend that much time on it other than to say, like, Kobe Bryant made the case himself. Kobe said if Shaq ever wanted to, like, put in the work that was required off the court, and be in shape, then he would have been the greatest player ever. So Kobe Bryant himself made that argument. So I won't reject the opinion or the idea of the great Kobe Bryant. And finally, I'll just read this one real quick. It's from Mother Nature's Son. It is the last super chat, and it's just requesting that Gary take a Percocet. But that's probably just in response to me and Gary's heated Kevin Durant debate, which again, I tell Gary off camera or whatever when we're not on live that I really have no problems with anything Gary's done to this point. This is whatever, like I said, show 17 17-ish that we've done this over the last month now. And if I had a problem with anything Gary was doing, I would let him know. And I have not let him know that I have an issue with anything that he's done, because I don't. I think Gary does a great job. I'm thankful for his help and his support and input into all of this and the stuff that he brings to these episodes. So, and I certainly don't mind. I'm not averse to debating and going back and forth. So no issues there, Mother Nature's Son. Gary does not need a Percocet. But thank you, Mother Nature's Son, for dropping us more another bit of support here in the lounge area. But as Gary alluded to, again, and I keep saying, I can't believe there's still 250 people in here at nearing 3 a.m. on the East Coast here in America, where I'm at, and Gary too, for that matter. It's 3 a.m. for him too. And we've been doing this for 3.5 hours, and there's still 250 people in here. But we have worked our way through all of these super chats, 44 tonight from you generous benefactors, all of you donors out there. We very much do appreciate you guys. It is definitely very humbling, and I'm very, very thankful of all the support I continue to get here.
Hey, Skap, as we're signing off, let me ask a quick question. Let me know in the chat, after Skap and I sign off, would you like for me to go on my channel and do a live and you could ask me NBA questions? If you guys want to continue, Skap's going to bed, I'm going to be up. If you guys would like to, let me know in the chat if you guys want me to do a live stream. You got a few of you come over, we talk NBA.
And that right. You would do the Gary 828 Sports channel then, Gary?
No, I would just do Gary 828.
Okay.
You should be able to click on my name and it takes straight to the channel, but I don't know if that always works. Just look Gary 828. You'll see my logo on there. Okay.
So there you go. If you guys want to join Gary, moderator Gary, aka Gary 828 on his YouTube channel. So just YouTube, if you cannot get there through the link of his name, go ahead and search in YouTube, search Gary 828 channel, and he will be over there. If you guys want to join, maybe Gary, I don't know if you want to wait for the response in the live section. If you just want to go light up a live over there and just go for it for a little bit. And if you guys want to join, he will be over there. Gary, what do you think? Are you just going to go over there? Or do you want to see if someone mentions anything in the chat first?
Yeah, I think I'll go over. I'm going to try to post. Someone asked me to put a link to my channel. I'm going to see if I can put that in there.
Okay.
See if that works. Okay, I put something that should take you to there. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. I've been up for, actually just to again not make this go any longer, but I just mentioned that I was house sitting / babysitting, and we took the kids to the aquarium today, and I was up at around 8 a.m. I did get a little nap in though, and I'm usually up till like 4 these days. So I did get a little nap in, but I'm exhausted. I've been doing these crazy hours every damn day since the playoffs started. So I'm gonna try to get some. Though I'm gonna probably do a video on tonight's game. I haven't done a react, so I'm probably gonna slide off and work on that. So if you guys want to keep the party going and join Gary in his area, I believe he did link it in, so you can look in the chat over there in the chat column here and hit on that. Gary will set that up momentarily and jump on there. Again, many thanks, guys. Again, 126 Thunder tonight. They're 1 win away from going back to the NBA Finals, and we'll be here on Wednesday, probably when they do just that. And more than likely, again, I never promise or commit to anything, but we'll likely be on tomorrow. I don't see anything that would stop me and Gary from getting on here for that game tomorrow, Indiana, New York. Indiana trying to put it away, so to speak, take a 3-1 lead, but we'll see. New York came back and stole that last game, so who knows what is in store for us in Game 4. But you can obviously come on to the lounge after the game ends and we'll unpack it here. Many thanks to all of you. Many thanks to Gary, the moderator. And as always, we'll see you next time. And in the meantime, guys, have a great night.